We are looking live. Big day today, and today was a day when, David.
Really?
Yeah, 86. Patrick Duffy returns to Dallas.
Oh. Ooh.
Got to be a fan of this show to understand that, but
That was big. That was big.
it's an all-timer.
You must have dreamt it.
That's our story, and we're sticking with it.
Yep. Oh, we knew we'd hear from Adam early today.
There it is. First place, Jags.
Jags.
Hell, Duval.
Oh.
I'm trying to find the audio. We said that the Jags would be the Cincinnati Bengals of this season.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
Pretty sure we did. I don't know.
Pretty sure we didn't.
We had high hopes for the Jags this year.
No.
No?
No.
I think we said if all hell was going to break loose in a division, it would be in that one because it's so weak.
But we didn't predict it.
No.
Big difference. I don't know how, John, but they are.
Huh. They have been outplayed in 7 of 12 quarters this year. Oof. Man, I don't feel well. Morning, guys. She does, Spitz. Especially since I'm probably going to stay here all week.
Gotta listen a minute.
Well, Paul, With Tannehill, they started 3-0 like 6 years ago.
$15 seconds. 10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. I come at you from Jersey, just on the other side of the Hudson. Midtown Manhattan is behind me. Don't know if you can see the lights. The Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building are directly behind me. The Freedom Tower is kind of off at about 8:30, 9 o'clock mark, so I can't get that in the shot. I tried. Believe me, I tried. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, David. I am doing well after a wild weekend of football. Holy cow. The Miami Dolphins are undefeated. The Miami Dolphins are undefeated.
You know, we start the show off the same way every time. But desperate times call for desperate measures.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever.
And I know you're a little under the weather this morning, David. You're, as they say on Sunday Night Football, you're playing hurt.
Miami.
So we don't have the voice with it. But
I'll sing. I'll sing. Miami Dolphins #1. Oh, Mark,
nothing like a little banjo solo at 6:02 a.m.
I was a big hee-haw fan, so you can always go banjo with me.
Picking
Always.
and a grinning.
Mark, they are ham and egging this beautifully. They are the golfer that you can't believe you lost to 2-1 in the club championship. You hit more fairways, you hit more greens, and somehow at the end of the day, you're on the losing end of the handshake. I mean, Mark, total yards yesterday were 497 to 212. First downs were 31 to 15. For 3 quarters against the Ravens, they were getting whooped up on. I mean, they are ham and egging it and doing, Mark, what the Dolphins have not done for a very long time, which is, wait for it, find a way to win. Wow.
Yeah, they're not the team that converts 3rd and 22 to get themselves down and range to put in a go-ahead touchdown. That's not the Dolphins we know, David.
No. They entered the red zone 3 times yesterday. What'd they do? They went 3 for 3. Bills entered the red zone 4 times yesterday. What'd they do? They go 2 for 4. Now, there's no doubt Dolphins caught a break, and Mark, let me tell you, we made our picks Friday morning.
Right.
And beginning at about 5 o'clock Friday afternoon, the Bills just started putting every single player they could think of on the injured list. I mean, I was expecting to see Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, and Thurman Thomas. I mean, 6 defensive starters. 6 defensive starters didn't play yesterday.
But their defense wasn't their problem.
No. So the Miami Dolphins are 3-0. There is one unbeaten team in the AFC. And ladies and gentlemen, who's that team again?
Miami has the Dolphins,
Yeah.
the greatest football team.
Yeah.
Take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen.
Who?
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking football.
Sing it.
Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1. Everybody now, it's the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Oh, we're really making the folks in Tampa St. Pete happy this morning.
Well, the folks in Tampa St. Pete have to realize that you guys had your Super Bowl 2 years ago, and you guys were the 2 seed last year. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since the Clinton administration. That's not a joke. They have not won a playoff game since the Clinton administration. They're where Tampa Bay was 2 years ago, pretty much. So, yeah, disappointing for Bucs fans, but to be honest with you, I mean, it doesn't look like there's a good team in that division right now. You know, Tampa lost, but so did the Saints. So you're still a game up in the division. You know, and it was a tough 4-game stretch to start the season if you're a Bucs fan. So I think you should be able to, after the last 2 years, let certain things roll with the punches.
Oh, I know. But that's not, we know what fans short for, and they're sitting there trying to figure out how you have a delay of game call on a 2-point conversion.
Right. Right. I will say there was a very funny text that was sent to you before the show this morning.
Yes. I bet the Bucs went over their 2-point conversion plan on Wednesday.
Very nice.
Well played.
Yep.
Well played. Even though Tom was at the facility on Wednesday, it's a funny joke. And
Yep.
We like that on this show.
Yeah, we're into funny. Poke fun at yourself. Come on now. So Adam, the 72 team, better be looking over their shoulder. Take it easy now. And we don't know if Adam's talking about the Dolphins. He's also, Adam is just right now needs to be drug tested because his Jacksonville Jaguars won a road game for the first time, which feels like the Clinton administration, but it was actually the Trump administration. So I have a question. So your franchise quarterback has got a really painful rib injury, and he's going to have to get shot up to play. Wouldn't this maybe be the game that you run the ball a little bit? Take the burden off him a little bit? Yeah, he threw the ball like 45 times. They ran it like 18. It was a 1-score game mid-third quarter. I'm telling you, this Brendan Staley guy, I'm not impressed.
For the game, they ran the ball 13 times. And one of those is a quarterback run.
Come on now.
12 designed rushing plays for the game.
Anyway, Miller and Moulton on this Monday. What glorious football weekends we have had, and we are not even to October yet. My goodness. 3 hour and 51 minutes, by the way, in Knoxville. Don't know if you paid attention to that. You and I are big on how long games take.
Well, They started talking about it for the first time nationally. It became an issue Friday and Saturday, the length of games. It's now being talked about. They're 10 minutes longer than Sunday games. I don't know how they're only 10 minutes longer than Sunday games. I'd like to know who's keeping track that tells me these games end in 3:22, because I'm trying to find one, David, that ends in 3:22.
Well, halftime alone is 6 minutes longer than an NFL halftime. An NFL halftime's 12 minutes. A college halftime's 18. Okay, so you can't tell me that the rest of the game is only 4 minutes longer. That's ridiculous. But 3:51, it was entertaining. And let me tell you, if Florida had completed one more pass, Tennessee might have just given up the football program. I don't know how they would have come back from that one. Of all the gut-wrenching defeats that Florida has handed Tennessee, down 17 with 6 minutes to go, and if they had beaten them.
Yeah, hey, how about maybe down 17 having a head coach that can do math? No. We can't just giggle at this. 8 and 8, 16. That's not enough. Was he
Correct.
planning on getting 8 and a safety to win? How was this going to work out? It is horrific. It is abominable. The coaching decision you make down 17, you score and you go for 2. Someone has to explain that to me, David.
Now, I know this for a fact, and our friend Bud Elliott, we will talk to him about it on Wednesday. Bud is an analytics guy. Bud believes it was the right call. All right, this is what the analytics say. And clearly, we found out on Saturday that Billy Napier is an analytics guy. That mark, 2-point conversions are converted between 45 and 50% of the time. So the thought is, if you go for it twice, you're going to convert it once. So why don't you go for it when you score down 17? And if you convert it there, now you're down 9, and now you can win this game with a touchdown and a field goal. If you miss it, you still got another shot. All right. When you score again, you can make it up with the 2-point conversion. And obviously they didn't. And so
I don't play that analytic game, David.
Well,
I don't. I never have, and I never will. It's a bad analytic game.
I don't disagree. I don't like it. The whole, this gives you a better chance to win. Well, do we have to tie it first? I mean, down 17 with 6 minutes to go, getting it to overtime would have been, amazing. Amazing. And Tennessee probably would have been reeling. So, but I do know for a fact, Mark, Ron Rivera does it all the time. When he's down 14 and he scores, when he was with Carolina and now with Washington, he goes for 2 to try to cut it to 6. He does it all the time. I'm with you. Seems ridiculous to me. Now you want to kick the extra point, then score. Now you want to go for the win? Oh, okay. All right. But analytics, believe it or not, Mark, say go for it.
Analytics. Analytics.
Wow, you cleaned that up nice.
Yeah, you can all figure out what I put in the middle of that and use your own words if you'd like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw that, and we'll get to it later. That was Middle Tennessee State scoring again.
Oh, my. Look, if Miami could sacrifice the Canes for the Dolphins, I am more than happy with that.
We don't play that way.
No.
Nope. The Middle Tennessee State badly.
Had never beaten a top 25 team before. And they whooped up on the Canes. Whooped up on them. That was embarrassing.
Miami gave them 2 scores early, had every opportunity to come back and do what they needed to do to win that game, and they did not. That is an embarrassing loss for Cristobal and company. Holy cow. What a weekend of football. What a weekend. The good, the bad, and the ugly all took place in the state of Florida, David.
Yes, it did, Mark. Yes, it did. But the good is spectacular. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening to Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I had the pleasure of being at that Miami Middle Tennessee game.
So it was your fault.
Yeah, must have been, I was at the Canes-Knowles game last year, and they gave up 4th and 14 to lose the game. Nice.
Yes, they did, Bingham. They looked great.
I wonder what they'll rank the Knowles. Knowles haven't been ranked in a while.
Yeah, it's Midtown Manhattan.
Beautiful view.
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
No, Bill Snyder's not coaching at K-State. Sorry, Mac. Well, it's 4 games. Okay. It's 4 games.
I'm watching Saturday. Michigan game starts. Punt goes off the Maryland guy's face mask. Michigan gets it. Next play scores 7-0. I'm like, all right. Clemson marches down the field, scores 7-0. I'm like, all right. This is all right. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about.
Clemson was up 14-0. Right. Oh, yeah.
And driving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That Ken Dorsey clip was too funny.
I'm actually surprised CBS showed it. We showed a Rich Rod throwing a tantrum fit when he was offense coordinator at Ole Miss a few years ago, and we caught a lot of grief for it. So,
only this time it'll become a meme.
Yeah, I know, which will make the Bills and maybe the NFL even angrier. Oh, man.
Klecko, LaShawn McCoy tweeted that Bieniemy argues with all of his players. That he knows nothing about play calling.
Yeah, that's laughable.
We're coming back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I'm coming at you from Hoboken, just on the other side of the Hudson from Midtown Manhattan. It's a beautiful view behind me. I'm trying to move around so you could see the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building. Unfortunately, the Freedom Tower is kind of 9 o'clock from where I'm sitting. There's no way for me to get the Freedom Tower on the air, but it's beautiful scenery this morning as the sun rises over Midtown Manhattan. Monday Night Football tonight. Giants hosting the Cowboys, and the Giants trying to be one of 3 unbeatens. Whew, man, does that sound strange?
It is strange, but it has been a great start to both the Saturdays and Sundays. Let's talk a little Gators and Tennessee, David. That was, well, a crazy game.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you were there, the excitement of all of it. They didn't leave. They had to be freaking out at the end of the game.
They were. There's no doubt about it, especially if you go back 5, 6, 7 years ago, how Florida has pulled victory from the jaws of defeat against Tennessee. Tennessee probably 2014 through 2017 should have won this rivalry 4 years in a row and instead lost 3 of the 4. So, and it was shaping up to be the all-timer, not an all-timer, the all-timer. But Mark, there's 2 things for the Gators that you can conclude. 1, the quarterback's good enough. And 2, the defense is not. They got their hands on one ball all day. Early in the game, Hooker threw kind of a down and in on 3rd down, and he threw the pass behind his receiver. And the Gators DB was able to get his hand in and help break it up. If it was an accurate pass, it would have been a 1st down. Instead, they settled for the field goal. The Gators, which used to be DBU, Mark, they don't have anybody really on defense who's an impact player. I mean, Miller, the linebacker, 51 a little bit. Cox, but the secondary, oh my goodness, just a bunch of guys. I mean, that's where Napier really has to, fortify the roster. Defensively, they can't stop anybody worth a darn on offense.
And Tennessee's worth a darn on offense. He's a good quarterback. Those receivers were able to get separation all day. I think it says as much about Tennessee as it does about the negativity of where Florida's defense is, because I do think that coming out of this game, Gator fan, you played an elite offense. I don't know if they're an elite team, but I do think that's an elite offense that Tennessee has.
Mark, what to me is most interesting is a year ago when Florida beat Tennessee, Josh Heupel said after the game, we're just not there yet. They're a level or 2 ahead of us. We're still playing catch up. And now here we are 1 year later, and they went from being a 16-point underdog to a 10.5 point favorite, and they ended up winning. And it's remarkable. And whether it's the development of the quarterback, whether it's the transfer portal and you can fill up holes, whatever the case may be, but they made up 4 touchdowns in a year. And that's remarkable. And we'll say, if you're a Gator fan, you're like, well, then maybe we can do it next year. But that quote from Heupel was in my head all day on Saturday when, after the game last year, he just said, we're not where they are. You know, we're still playing catch up. Oh, they're playing catch up now.
They are not playing catch up right now. And as far as the rest of the state, you know, we talked a little bit about Miami. Hey, give credit to the Noles.
Yes. Yes. A classic letdown situation. Banged up, 17-point favorite. These kids read. They know they're a 17-point favorite. Norvell could, you know, convince them that Boston College is the 85 Bears, and, you know, they're human. And they went out and destroyed BC, destroyed them. And it's like, oh, wow, that's what Florida State used to do to mediocre teams. Damn. Is this maybe developing into a good team? Wow.
Now, the guts of the schedule is right in front of Florida State now. Their next 4 games are difficult football games. But if you're a Nole fan, where maybe you looked at this as a 1-3 stretch, hell, maybe you looked at it and said, I don't even know how we win a game. I think now you can look at it and go, we can compete. And I don't know how good it will be. It may still be the same type of record, but they can go into these games. They can go and compete with Wake Forest.
Especially since Wake Forest doesn't have much of a defense. Now, I will say they have a special quarterback. Did you see the stat, by the way, against the blitz? Once again, Mark, you and I are not the smartest people in the world. We are willing to admit that openly, often. But Mark, he threw 6 touchdown passes against the blitz. After he throws the 4th, don't you stop blitzing? I mean, at what point do you go, this ain't working?
We'll rush 3 and sit back and see if we can stop.
I mean, woo. Dabo, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but how about if we don't blitz? You know, it's just an idea. It's a crazy one. But special game. And, you know, I don't know, Mark, that, you know, maybe the top 3, 4. I don't know if it extends to 5. Clemson's 5, USC 6. I don't know if we're going to have 5, 6, 7, quote unquote, great teams this year. You know, it may just be the big 3. With Michigan with a softer schedule than usual, maybe being able to be 11-0 when they play Ohio State. But I will say, Mark, we've had tremendous games. Tremendous games. When's the last time an ACC school in North Carolina took Clemson to overtime? I mean, hot damn.
Absolutely.
It's good stuff here.
Good stuff. And obviously we had, you know, Oklahoma gets upset over the weekend with K-State beating them, which was a tremendous game.
You know, I took Oklahoma because, come on. I mean, really? I know the K-State's their bugaboo, but come on now. Do you know in the last 11 meetings in Norman, K-State straight up has won 6 of them? They're 6-5 in their last 11 games in Norman. That's remarkable. It's K-State. You know, this isn't Oklahoma State. This is Gundy would give his left arm to have 2 wins in Norman.
Maybe that series would continue if he would have had 2 wins in Norman.
Right. So
sorry, that was just an easy one.
It was. But, you know, great. USC in 4 games has not committed a turnover. Talk about the difference coaching can make. People who made fun about Lincoln Riley going to USC. Oklahoma just lost at home to K-State. And USC's 4-0, and they've yet to commit a turnover. That's coaching.
Speaking of turnovers, it was the bugaboo of the Canes early, and they couldn't get over it in their loss to Middle Tennessee State.
Hello.
400-plus yards. It's unexplainable to me.
Worst day, Michigan State at home against Minnesota, Miami at home against Middle Tennessee State.
Look, Michigan State sucks, but it's Miami. You don't lose at home to Middle Tennessee State.
I'm with you. I am with you.
An embarrassing day for Cristobal and the Canes.
Whew. Man.
Miller and Moulton. The starting five is on the other side. On a football Monday, we'll break it all down next. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The picture of the butt punt is an all-time picture. Oh my gosh! When I saw the Buckeyes wearing black, I immediately thought of you, Mark.
Oh, it's not me. It's David on that one. That's David.
Really, both of you, honestly. And again, They're nice uniforms, guys. Come on.
They're gross.
Thank you, Klecko. I saw Ohio State's uniforms and I just wanted to fire people. I
Klecko, what's the capacity? Like 70 at Hard Rock?
I think they lowered it after the. Yeah, actually it might be 70.
65. So there was what, 38 in there? Maybe it didn't look half full.
Yeah, I was there again. It was probably like 35. I'll tell you what, a lot of people left in the second half, early in the second half. And
Gino Torretta, he owns Touchdown Radio Network. He was doing the Florida-Tennessee game. And so at halftime, I saw him. I go, how you doing? He just goes on a expletive-laden tirade for about 30 seconds. I said, okay, get it out of your system. Got a half to do. The Dolphins were like that next day Bloody Mary rescued my Canes hangover. I like that.
Yep, Shimko. That's a good one.
Yeah. Say whatever. I mean, and it does. I get it if you root for both, but that Canes loss is embarrassing as it gets.
Ken Dorsey was the Bills OC. It's Ken Dorsey.
Be your own sometimes. I wish I had brought my camera to that game because the faces. I just didn't even look at the field. I just looked at people's faces.
Did you see all the Bills fans at that game? Man, they travel.
Well, it's only an hour drive for most of them. Those folks didn't travel from Buffalo. They all live in Florida.
Right.
There's a lot of Bills fans in this state.
Yep.
On my drive to the UM game, I saw 8 decked out Bills cars on Alligator Alley. 8.
All right.
One of them had a Buffalo Bills truck bed cap. It's like, this is unbelievable.
Yep, there always is, Paul.
Those Dolphins, they hang on the ropes. And they put you to sleep. Coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton. I'm in Hoboken, across the Hudson from Midtown Manhattan. So those that are watching on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, you're seeing a beautiful sunrise and some tall buildings. One of them's the Empire State Building. The other's the Chrysler Building. Freedom Tower is just out of view. So got to admit, as morning views go, I don't know if we can do much better than this. You know,
might have to stay. See what that room costs for the rest of the year. Broadcast from Hoboken.
I'm
view,
guessing,
David, for the view.
Yes, I'm guessing. And usually the networks get a discount. Usually these rooms are like $700 rooms, and they get them for like $5 because they book so many. So, but I'll there's a production meeting, Mark, in about 4 hours. These very important questions need to be answered.
I agree.
Like, is there going to be food this time? And how much do the rooms cost? Right. We had a butt punt and we had an Orlovsky yesterday.
Yes, we did. And the Orlovsky was actually very helpful because if it wouldn't have been an Orlovsky, it would have been a pick six.
Yes, but it turned out to be the difference in the game.
I know.
In a 1-point game, you throw a safety in there for running out the back of the end zone. So Dan Orlovsky might have been the happiest person in America yesterday. He's like, finally, I'm off the hook. Finally, I'm off the hook. That's like 8-10 years old. Orlovsky running out the back of the end zone. And so now we can just show Jimmy G doing it. And Orlovsky's like, oh, no. Don't have to show me. Come on now. We got to be current. I mean, this guy's taking a team to a Super Bowl. So, don't pick on me.
He'll get a lot of action, though. They're going to show one right after the other this morning heavily.
Mark, it'll be like when you're in that studio and you've got the 4-letter network on, and they showed for 3 consecutive weeks Mike Tannenbaum trying to field a punt.
Yes.
I think for this whole week, you're going to see Dan Orlovsky run out the back of the end zone.
Not a doubt in my mind. I thought the same thing watching Jimmy G step out of the end zone last night.
And Mark Sanchez, I think, was given a new lease on life. He had the butt fumble. The Dolphins had the butt punt. And they won.
That's the only thing that's hurting Sanchez there.
That is true. The butt fumble was returned for a touchdown in a lopsided loss.
I don't think the butt fumble goes away. The Orlovsky may have had a chance of going away. The butt fumble lives forever.
All right, let's do this. Time for
the starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Mark, I got up early this morning, and sometimes I miss things with the hours that we keep, but I swear there are only 2 3-0 teams in the National Football League.
No, you're right.
One of them is the Philadelphia Eagles,
mm-hmm.
and the other is the Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins.
Despite getting outplayed all day yesterday.
Miami Dolphins, number 1.
The Bills had 31 first downs. The Dolphins had 15. The Bills had 3 yards less than 500 of offense. The Dolphins had 212. And yet the Dolphins are 3-0. First time they beat the Bills in their last 7 meetings. 21-19 Miami holding off Buffalo late, a goal line stand when they were up 4, and then the Bills unable to get it in field goal range before time expired. So the Miami Dolphins, who will be playing on Thursday Night Football in Cincinnati against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And they're an underdog, I do believe. So no respect at all. Ooh.
Thursday night road game.
Yep. Short week. Yep. Probably have a bunch of guys who won't be able to play because of it. So the Eagles, meanwhile, scored 24 points in the second quarter. It's Jalen Hurts is, I don't know, turned into a pretty good quarterback. 340 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Eagles are 3-0. Carson Wentz was lousy. Once again, he's the gift that keeps on giving for the Eagles. Tampa Bay lost to Green Bay, their first loss of the year, 14-12. Bucks held to 34 yards rushing. That's not good. That's not going to get it done.
That's not good?
When you've got all your wide receivers out and you actually need a little bit of a running game, that's not good. I'm just saying. It's not good. Bucks fall to 2-1. They still have a 1-game lead in the division. The Jags are 2-1. They won on the road, snapping an 18-game road losing streak. 38-10, I believe, against the Chargers. Chargers are 1-2. The Jags are in first place, ladies and gentlemen. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Hot damn.
What Florida team isn't?
Make a dadgum good point, Mark. You know who? The Miami Hurricanes. The Bears beat the Texans. Good for them. We don't think the Bears are good, but, they got a second win on the season. 23-20 over Houston. They're 2-1. They beat their old coach, Lovie Smith. Josh McDaniels off to a rough start with Vegas. I mean, they went to the playoffs last year.
Yep.
And he's got them 0-3 this year. And the Titans held off Las Vegas 24-22 yesterday. Man, the Lions pulled a Lions yesterday.
It's what they do, David. It's what they do.
Up 10 with 10 minutes to go. And Dan Campbell started making dubious coaching decisions and dubious play calls, and then going for the 54-yard field goal late up 3. I mean, 28-24 Minnesota over Detroit. The Vikings are 2-1. The Lions are 1-2. The Colts beat the Chiefs to rescue their season. They're 1-1 now, 20-17. The Colts, Matt Ryan threw the game-winning touchdown with 23 seconds to go. Lamar had 5 touchdowns.
Yes, he did.
I'm just curious, has he done anything so far in the 3 games this year to make his salary demands go down?
David, he's the MVP right now through 3 games. Okay? I mean, I'm not joking around here. And I know we don't give awards out at the quarter poll, but he's the MVP right now.
Ravens are 2-1, Patriots are 1-2, and Mac Jones got hurt. He's got a high ankle sprain. We'll see how long he's going to miss. Bengals got their first win of the year. They beat the Jets 27-12. Carolina got their first win of the year, 22-14 over the Saints. Rams beat Arizona 20-12. LA's 2-1. Atlanta beat Seattle 27-23. Both teams are 1-2. And the Phillies and the Braves played an 8-7 game yesterday. They didn't have a whole lot on San Francisco and Denver. The Broncos beat the Niners 11-10. In fact, Mark, the Royals beat the Mariners 13-12. The Royals-Mariners game outscored the Broncos-Niners game. That's not good.
No, that's not.
No. Jimmy G ran out the back of the end zone to give Denver a safety. It turned out to be the winning points in the game. College football, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson. Your unanimous top 5. USC 6, Kentucky 7. Tennessee is 8. Tennessee has not been ranked this highly in 16 years. Florida State ranked 23rd in the AP poll. Georgia Tech's having a special board meeting today, Mark. That's never good. They're going to discuss the futures of the football coach, Jeff Collins, and the AD, Todd Stansbury. This just in, Mark. I don't like their chances of being on the payroll tomorrow.
I'm not sure why they have to have the meeting.
Right. So, Major League Baseball, Yankees, rain-shortened game. They beat the Red Sox 2-0. Judge did not homer for a 5th straight game. Rays and Jays split a 4-game series. Toronto a winner yesterday 7-1. Kansas City beat Seattle 13-12. Baltimore lost to Houston in extra innings 6-3. Give it up to the Cleveland Guardians, Mark. With them beating Texas and the White Sox and Twins losing, the Cleveland Guardians clinched the American League Central yesterday with a week and a half left in the season. Well done. Don Mattingly announced he's not coming back as Marlins manager.
Well, that's good. I don't think they wanted him back.
No. So it's just, procedural there.
Yes.
Nats beat the Marlins 6-1. Braves and Phillies split the 4-game series. Braves winning yesterday 8-7 and 11. They remain a game and a half back of the Mets, who beat Oakland 13-4. Mark, Albert Pujols, for those of you that missed it on Friday night, in the 3rd and 4th innings, hit back-to-back homers to get to number 700. In the 3rd inning, he hit it off a lefty. In the 4th inning, he hit it off a righty. Not only does he have 700 home runs, he has 500 of them against right-hand pitching and 200 of them against left-hand pitching. That's a pretty good stat.
That is a good stat.
Yeah. Dodgers clinched the number 1 overall seed in the National League yesterday with a 4-1 win over the Cardinals. Padres a winner over Colorado. Milwaukee lost to Cincinnati. The Phillies have a 1.5 game lead on the Brewers for the final playoff spot in the National League. Mark, you're not going to believe this, but the U.S. won the President's Cup.
No.
Shocking. They jumped out to a 4-1 and 8-2 lead. The Internationals actually won Saturday 5-3 to give them, I guess, a snowball's chance, but the U.S. won singles 6.5 to 5.5, and they won the competition 17.5 to 12.5. And why are we playing this?
Television.
I guess. NASCAR in Fort Worth yesterday. Tyler Reddick, your winner. Joey Logano, second. Denny Hamlin, 10th. Ross Chastain, 13th. Chase Elliott, 32nd. Logano's second-place finish has him first in the points race. Ross Chastain is 12 points back in second. How about that? As we're, heading into October this weekend. We only got like 5-6 more races to go. So, hot steaming deal. Monday Night Football tonight in Jersey. Cowboys and Giants. It's a virtual pick'em. The Giants are listed as a 1-point favorite with an over-under of 39. So Vegas is saying 20-19 Giants. And I will say the Giants have scored 21 and 19 points in their first 2 games. So the Giants scoring 20 is kind of what they've done so far. But I have no idea why the Giants are favored. I mean, even with the injuries and even without Dak, I mean, the Cowboys have a better roster. But
Not by much.
No.
Not by much. That offensive line's still a mess, and I think that's why the line is what it is. That's
So Monday Night Football tonight, Buck and Aikman, ESPN, about 8:20, Cowboys and Giants. And that, Mark, was...
That was the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
As we approach 8 minutes before the hour.
we've got to come up with a poll question for the show today, David. And, we've had so much fun with which Florida team do you trust right now. I'm wondering when the shift comes of the audience. If we were to just put which first-place team do you trust the most, which Florida first-place team do you trust the most, we know it's not going to be the Jags. But did that Dolphins win over the Bills start getting people to change their minds about the Miami Dolphins and the way the Bucs have started out this season with Kansas City on the horizon? Is it time to start rethinking the Bucs, or is this what you and I have been saying for a while? This Bucs team is going to be a lot like Patriot teams that we watched. They're going to be a team that's going to get better and better as the season progresses.
I think this team's going to be a lot like the team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. That team was 7-5 heading into December. And then we all know how that played out. I think that Tampa Bay is going to be like 8-4 and then go on a run. I'm just throwing this out there. Do we want to ask people what they thought about Billy Napier going for 2?
Yes. Yes. Analytics say that's the right play.
Correct.
I don't know how analytics say that, but they do.
Yep.
And who are we to fight with analytics? Analytics are smarter than Miller and Moulton.
Well, I thought so until Saturday. Got to be honest. So, do we think Napier made the right play going for 2 twice, down 17 and then down 11? Well, down 11 was obvious, but of course, if you kick the 2 extra points, they could have lined up for a field goal there on the final play of regulation. He said he'd do it again because coaches are never wrong.
And analytics apparently are always right. Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening. We'll get our poll question up and talk more football. That's what we do on a Monday right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, RCB, they tried to get the first down. But that was the other thing. Napier going for 2. Line was 10 and a half. I mean, there were a few people who were like, ah. Yeah, DC, that idea has been proposed this week to make it a half and half event. You got the play of the day lined up?
We're going to do Pujols' 700th.
Come back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. What a glorious football weekend it was. Also, some baseball history took place late Friday night. We'll revisit that coming up in a bit. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You know, we're spending a little bit of time on Billy Napier and going for 2 when they were down 17 and they scored to cut it to 11. And the analytics say, go for it. Because if you make it, now you're down 9. Now you can win the game with a touchdown and a field goal. And if you miss it, well, you get another 2-point conversion attempt in theory, and you're successful on those plays between 45, 46% of the time. So if you get 2 cracks at it, you're probably going to make it once, and then you'll be at the same spot that you were if you had kicked the 2 extra points. That's the reasoning behind it. The part that we did not talk about, though, is the line on the game was 10.5. And this just in, a few people played Florida, Tennessee. And the line was really 10.5. So when Napier doesn't kick the extra point, in theory, every single 10.5 bet in the country is now on the line. And it's like, oh, you know, and those that were laying the 10.5 are thinking they're going to lose. He's going to kick the extra point. It's going to be a 10-point final. I'm going to lose by a half. Scott Van Pelt is going to talk about it on his Bad Beat segment. But then when they're lining up for 2, you're like, oh, thank goodness.
It wasn't. It was the second thing I thought of, because I was screaming. It's as close as I've come to texting you during a game in a long time. For those that don't know, David works with the SEC on CBS as Gary Danielson's spotter. And I don't bother, and people bother David during games. I don't understand that know that he's working and bother him and think, hey, this is cute. David's working a nationally televised game. How about I send him a text? I don't do that.
My favorite second half of Florida, Tennessee was, hey, it sounds loud.
Thanks for that.
Yep. Send.
So you go to commercial break after the touchdown and didn't really mention the whole analytics part of it, and that would take it to 10, and I'm about to text you. And Gary comes back on and says something to the effect of, I guess I don't know if I'm good at math.
Right.
And I start rolling. I'm like, okay, see, I don't have to text. There's a reason why these guys do this, and I'm sitting on my couch. But I was flabbergasted, to say the very least, that he didn't kick the extra point there. Then I started thinking, Moulton's writing on blue cards, the spread's 10.5. The spread's 10.
Well, I didn't do that because CBS does not want their announcers referencing the spread of the games they're doing. All right. You could reference the spread if, like, they throw it to New York and Adam Zucker does a highlight. You know, Nestler could jump in and go, there's a lot of people interested in that game at 3.5. You know, that he's allowed to do. CBS doesn't want us referencing the actual game that we're broadcasting. So I didn't write that down. All right. I thought it, though. Boy, did I think it.
Because as I'm going nuts at the TV, going, you got to get this to 10. What are you doing, Napier? And I'm going, then I just started going into the spread's 10.5, man. This is your alumni that have the Gators plus 10.5, and you're crushing them right now, Billy. You're crushing them.
Yep. Thankfully, you scored again. But yeah, if they'd kicked 2 extra points when they recovered the onside kick, and by the way, that was a glorious onside kick recovery. I mean, they've changed the rules now. It's really difficult to recover an onside kick.
With all those rule changes, I wish they'd allow them to advance the ball, because obviously they can't. I think if that guy catches that ball and runs it into the end zone, it should be 6. I've always thought that, not because it happened there. I hate that you can't advance that.
Well, you can on Sundays.
I know.
Right. So that's one of those in which you have to be familiar with the difference between Saturdays and Sundays. And I'm guessing that some people watching it were like, what do you mean he can't advance it? Not in college. They would have been in field goal range. He got tackled out of bounds at like 31. I mean, they were already in field goal range if they were allowed to advance the ball. Now, I will say more time would have come off the clock. Only 1 second came off the clock. It went from 17 to 16. Because they said, well, we can't take more time than that. Once he recovers it, that's it. The play's dead. So, Florida might have only had time for one more play. There might have been 10, 11 seconds left in the game, and they would have had time for one more play. But they would have been in field goal range. Here's the problem. They were down 5.
And Napier, as you mentioned earlier, said, I'd do it again.
Yes. And my question then is why? This didn't work out at all. Why would you do it again? I mean, you got to explain to your base here.
And David, not just explain to your base. I would be a little, well, that's what analytics said. Well, give me some examples where it's worked. I know that's what analytics say, but cite me examples where analytics here have worked, because I can cite you an example where it didn't work. Your last game.
Correct. Now, as Mongo points out in our Twitch chat room, he went for it an unbelievable amount of times on 4th down. And the only one that I questioned, Mark, was late 3rd quarter when they were down, I think they were down 17. And they were deep in their own end, and it was like 4th and 3. And they were inside their 30. And I'm thinking, well, if they don't convert this, I mean, this game's over and we still have over a quarter left to play. But then Richardson hits the bomb down the right sideline and, okay, game's on. So, he was aggressive, and his aggressiveness hurt him at the end of the first half too. Like, I don't know how many of you were paying close attention at the end of the first half, but Tennessee starts the possession on their 1-yard line, and they run a couple plays, and Billy Napier calls timeout, his last timeout. And he's thinking, hey, we're going to get a stop, going to get the ball back with a little over a minute to go, and I'm going to tack on a score. We're already up a score, and I'm going to tack on another one. And unfortunately, that was the beginning of the stretch where Tennessee scored 4 touchdowns on 4 consecutive possessions.
I loved his aggressiveness when he did it. I had no problem calling the timeout. Defense was playing well. I know you can argue that, hey, just get this sucker into halftime with the lead.
Yes. And that's where I was. For the record.
You're on the road. And I saw both sides, but at that point, they had done a really good job of containing Tennessee's offense.
Right. I think it was 14-10 at the time. They had forced 2 turnovers when they had gotten in the red zone. And so, yeah. But I thought that they were playing with fire. Gary agreed with it. Gary was fine. It's like, listen, this is how he's decided he's going to coach this game. He's going to be aggressive. He feels he has to be to win. I'm okay with it. I would have waited to see how that 3rd down turned out. because Tennessee's going to snap the ball within 20 seconds. So I'm only losing about 20 seconds of game clock here. And if by chance we stop them, maybe the clock stops, or I can call my last time out. There's a little over a minute to go, and then, okay, now we can take a run at it. So I thought it was a little too aggressive, but Mark, I'm one of those that desperately tries to get to the locker room. I feel more games are lost in the final 2-3 minutes of the first half with teams trying to do crazy stuff instead of just get to the locker room.
And David, I think you know this, 9 times out of 10, I'm usually on your side when it comes to this, particularly when you're on the road. It's one thing if you're at home and you get the swamp crowd to get nuts on third down and make a lot of noise, but you're on the road. And I just thought the way that their defense was playing and the fact that Tennessee's offense had not yet started, I'm like, boy, if they could get one more here, they could get any points, how big this would be for an offense that has struggled so much to get one more score. And that's what I thought he was thinking, trying to take advantage of Tennessee not having a very good first half. It backfired on him immensely.
Miller and Moulton. So I don't know if it's going to be our poll question. I'd like it to be. Did you agree with Napier going for 2? Because that's what the analytics say, by the way. Down 17, you score to cut it to 11. Analytics say go for 2. I think it's preposterous. So that's my nomination for the poll question.
We'll get it up here during the break because I don't feel like fighting with you today about a poll question, David. That's just got to get the wording of it right, and then we'll get that up. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. That'll go up during the break. If you want to text the show, 21,000 is the number. 21,000. If you've never texted before, FSN Radio, the keyword. Any of your thoughts on that game or any others from the weekend?
And I also figured that tomorrow we can ask people if they're buying. Are they buying the Dolphins? Are they buying the Jags? Are they buying 3-0, 2-1? Are you buying? Or are you like, come on, seriously? I mean, I'm happy for them, but please. They got outgained by 285 yards yesterday. Buffalo had 16 more first downs. Come on now. So that's all.
So we'll get the poll question up. The Clutch Vodka play of the day coming on the other side of the break. And we'll go back a couple of days for that one as well. But the Dolphins are in first place. They are undefeated after defeating the Buffalo Bills yesterday. Wow. They gave it every opportunity, a butt punt, and yet the Dolphins get it to the barn. They're 3-0. What a start. And, well, we will see where it all goes from here. Remember, you want to text the show, 21,000. If you miss any of the show, you can catch the podcast at all the usual places, including FloridaSportsNetwork.com. When we come back, we'll get to our Clutch Vodka play of the day, Miller and Moulton. We thank you so very much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I didn't, David Duman, because they ran so many more plays. So I didn't think that the heat and humidity influenced it. But yeah, Fam, there are a lot of people wondering how he re-entered the game and that what procedure did the Dolphins use. The Bills do not suck. They do have an ability not to win close games, though. Pickleball, I don't know if I have that much confidence. They've been outplayed the last 2 weeks and won. Well, we both picked the Dolphins to make the playoffs, so
I just put Florida went for 2, down 11 with 4:49 remaining. Do you agree with Napier's decision to go for 2? Yes, trust the analytics. No.
great. Brian, they have a terrific offensive line, and they have 2 tremendous wide receivers and a very good tight end.
Down 11 with how much remaining?
4:49.
Come back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I'm in Hoboken, about 15 minutes from MetLife Stadium, across the Hudson from Midtown Manhattan. Giants and Cowboys, Monday Night Football. Giants favored by a point. Over under of 39 for those of you that are so inclined. I will say this, Mark. I mean, except for the most diehard of Doll fan, I think most of us still think Buffalo's a better team than Miami. But Buffalo does have a winning close games problem. They've now lost 6 or 7 consecutive one-score games. And remember, we talked about this last year where they went 11-6, and we looked at their analytics and we're like, yeah, you're top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense. How'd you lose 6 games? And here they are again. Now, I mean, they had 6 defensive starters out yesterday, but the defense didn't cost them the game.
It did not. Their defense played just fine. Their offense, once again, I mean, their offense, not once again, their offense cost them that football game. But, you know, who was their leading rusher yesterday?
Well, it's usually Josh Allen.
Bingo. He was second in carries, first in yards. And that's the problem.
Yep. We've talked about this for 2 years now. I mean, Buffalo's, it's almost as if Andy Reid's coaching their team. But just pointing that out there, that Buffalo has a close games problem. We saw it last year in the playoffs. We just saw it their first close game this year. They lost. All right. Let's see if they can work their way through that. Last 2 years, not so much.
And I don't know, you know, when you throw it to 60 sometimes like they did, they don't believe they can run it. I mean, they philosophically are not going to run the football when you're making when you're 90 plays and they threw it 63 times yesterday. That's not a philosophy that I see changing overnight, if you know what I mean.
No, but it needs to. It needs to. It really does. And I'm a fan of a team in which I watched a head coach do it. The Giants in 84 and 85 were having success on the throwing arm of Phil Simms. He threw for over 4,000 yards in 84, and he threw for 3,900 yards in 85. But midway through that season, Bill Parcells said, you know what we need to do? We need to run the ball with Joe Morris. That's what we need to do. We need to complement our defense. We need to run the football, shorten these games, and that'll take us to the next level. Because that's what the Bears are doing with Peyton and Neil Anderson. So we need to do it. And sure enough, over the next couple of years, he transformed them and they won a Super Bowl. And I think it would benefit Buffalo if they ran the ball a little bit more.
And it's not going back to the 80s. It's just running a little bit more, but it's being able to, you know, the Bills are at some point going to have to get into a 4-minute offense and run out of clock without Josh Allen.
Right.
And that's really what it is. And where do they play? They play in the cold weather. They play in the wind. You would think at some point they're going to have to play a game and win a game with that style without doing it with Josh Allen, quite frankly.
Are you buying the Dolphins? Yes, they're 3-0, but they've been outplayed in 7 of their 12 quarters this year. All right. Are you buying them? Because the Dolphins with Tannehill had a 3-0 start 6 years ago. Now, they ended up making the playoffs, but they got bounced in the first round. I mean, Carolina was 3-0 last year, lost 12 of 14. Are you buying the Dolphins right now?
I'm buying. I mean, I still agree with your earlier statement. I'm still taking the Bills to win the division, but I've thought Miami was a playoff team when the season started. They've done nothing to tell me that they're not a playoff team right now. Even though the stats you point out are all incredibly relevant, they've won the games. The most important stat at the end of the game, they've been able to figure out some way, somehow, to get their number higher than their opposition's number on the scoreboard.
And it is impressive with a new coach and a bunch of new players that they're finding ways to win games. Usually it's teams that have been together an hour and a half that find a way to win close games.
But can a team like that, a team that can just hang on the ropes and find ways to win the game, can they go far?
Yeah, because the Kansas City Chiefs have gone far. And I think that with Mahomes, the Chiefs have done a little rope-a-dope at times these last 4 years. And then Mahomes shows up in the fourth quarter and says, I'll take it from here. Thanks. So, yeah, I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers has done it in Green Bay for 15 years.
Well, you got to be clutch in order to do that.
He's really feeling his oats today, isn't he?
It's something. It's something, but I guess that means he wants us to get to our clutch play of the day, where we will transition the Miami Dolphins all the way back, David, to Friday night. Albert Pujols making history in St. Louis.
Pitch. A swing, and there it goes! Left field, way back. That's home run number 700. Pujols hits a 3-run homer, and he hit 699 and 700 at Dodger Stadium on September 23rd, 2022. 8:23 p.m. Pacific time.
Every Cardinal is out of the dugout congratulating Albert Pujols. The Dodgers are on the top step clapping for their former teammate and friend who they honored before the game today. Everybody in the ballpark is standing. What a great moment, a Hollywood moment here in LA. And Albert has been writing Hollywood moments all summer long, and you can add this one to the list. 700 home runs for the great Albert Pujols.
The machine with 700.
And the pandemic cost him at least passing Ruth. They only played 60 games 2 years ago. I mean, you figure he's going to end up with like 702 or something like that. Ruth's 714. You figure that with 100 extra games potentially to play, that he would have been third all time. But Mark, did you see the video in San Francisco? The Giants were standing on the mound. It was a pitching change, and they played the highlight in San Francisco. And the Giant players watched it and applauded. It was really cool.
700, man. It's
yep.
Not really much else has to be said other than 700 home runs. Albert Pujols, our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Clutch Vodka. They had to be going nuts at Seaside and Bonita for that Dolphin watch party on Sunday.
Oh.
That's only about 2 miles down from the Bills watch party.
The one at Hard Rock Stadium.
So could have been, one of those West Side Story brawls. They were so close to one another, David.
Flew into Jersey yesterday, and the row in front of me had 3 Bengals fans, seats A, B, and C on the left, and 3 Jets fans, seats D, E, and F on the right. And so when it came time to get off the plane, I said, you guys just want to take this outside and handle this?
Cincinnati fans probably went, "What are you talking about? We're just here to have a good time, and we're nice."
They were.
And the Jets fans were like, "I'm ready right now."
Exactly. Yep. Very brave woman. She had on a Zach Wilson jersey. I said, well, you're going to have to get a new one of those in about a year or two.
You did too, didn't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
My guy right there.
Yeah. Sure.
Let her know. Miller and Moulton. Never afraid to say the tough things to the fans, even if we are flying with them. Thanks for listening. Right here, Miller and Moulton. Where else? The Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The Miami Dolphins are 11-1 in their last 12 games.
Did you hear the Belichick presser asked about the injury?
No.
Back-to-back questions about the Jones injury with a no, and then the female reporter follows up with, can you give us anything on what play had happened? I didn't see a replay before I got down here. Can you tell us what play it happened on? No.
No. I'm just focused about next week.
No, I mean, no. No. His answer was no. That's it. One word.
But anytime anyone asks him a question before the game, just like leading up to a game, I'm just focused about Green Bay next week. Yeah, I don't really care about that.
Now, Fam Forever, he signed as a free agent with the Angels. But it sounds like you held it against the Cardinals.
Oh my gosh, Adam. I almost had a heart attack. Adam, I was doing PA for an FGC.
Trying to figure out how he got back in the game.
So's the NFL.
I had the game on my phone during one of the soccer games that I was working for, and I stood up and said, "No!" Everyone went, "What?" And I was like, "Nothing."
Let's hope not, KW.
Yeah, really.
The more I look at the Dolphins' schedule now, like based on the way teams have started off this season, the harder I think it is. I mean, Bears, not hard. Texans either.
I'm not sure what you're talking about because their next 4 games are all really winnable.
Oh,
Cincinnati's not nearly as good as what you thought they were.
Right.
Well, you just said how hard it was.
No, but after Cincinnati and the Jets.
And then Minnesota.
Minnesota's good.
Yeah, they're good. You have them at home.
Yeah, Steelers at home too.
They're horrible.
You never know what the Steelers.
No, they're horrible. I do.
Mike Tomlin.
Mitch Trubisky's their coach. They're horrible. Their quarterback.
Yeah.
They're a terrible football team.
Here we go. When are they going to put in Pickett?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I'm in Jersey. Monday Night Football tonight. Giants, who somehow are 2-0, trying to be the third 3-0 team. And if they pull it off, no one's going to consider them a viable anything.
No, but I hope they pull it off just for that reason, so that we have 3 undefeated. It's the Eagles, the Dolphins, and the Giants.
Well, and also, how many winless do we have?
1, I believe.
The Texans are 0-2-1.
Okay.
And the Raiders are 0-3.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
So if the Cowboys win tonight, we'll have 2 undefeateds and 2 with a 0 in the left-hand column. That's it. 3 weeks into the year. Not that this league's, based on parity or anything. Unreal.
And as you pointed out, the Bucs lost, and it's it's a tough loss to take when you can't get a 2-point conversion done in the allotted time and have to take a delay of game penalty. But
and also, let's be honest, Mark, if they had won yesterday, the division would have been over. I mean, they would have had a 2-game lead in the division. They will have beaten New Orleans in New Orleans. We don't take Atlanta and Carolina seriously. I mean, if they had won yesterday, the Bucs are basically playing for seeding. And it's not even October. But now, okay, with the injuries and let's just see how this progresses.
Right. And yet they're averaging 17 points a game.
Right.
I mean, yesterday was woeful, but their offense has been woeful so far. They've played some good defenses. I'll give them that, but the offense has not looked good. They were unable to run the ball yesterday at all. You just kind of chalk that up to having your three best receivers out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that matter, a revamped offensive line. That's not what it was last year. So, yeah, this is a work in progress. I'm waiting for them to go out and get better players. I mean, I don't expect them to get better players at receiver, although they did go and get Cole Beasley. I expect them to just wait for guys to get healthy. But I am expecting them to go out and get better offensive linemen. I mean, come on now. Do you really think you're going to win a Super Bowl with this offensive line? I mean, say that out loud. Say that out loud. Do you really think this is the offensive line, no matter how great Tom Brady is and how glorious those receivers are when healthy? Is this really the offensive line that's going to win you the final game of the year? Hell no.
One of the stats they put up during the game is that basically Brady went from throwing to tight ends more than anybody in the league a year ago to throwing basically to his tight ends the least as anybody. I think he's 29th, averaging like whatever the attempts are. And I still wonder if they're trying to coerce Gronk out of retirement because for whatever reason, he and Cam Brate can't find one another. Rudolph that can't get on the field if he ever will. And that's where, to me, when Julio's healthy, we saw this in some of the practices, and they talked about Julio running some of the Gronk routes. They're going to have to bring somebody inside to do that because Brady's got to find some sort of a safety valve when things go badly in that offensive line.
And the big concern is, Julio Jones was healthy for one game. One game. Looked terrific. Looked like, wow, 2021 Julio Jones was the aberration. He's back. This is 2019 Julio Jones. And now he's hurt. I'll say this, Mark. If they didn't have their top four receivers healthy at the end of the year, they could use Julio as a tight end. He's so big, and they'll just put him over the middle of the field. And they could have Evans and Godwin and Gage on the outside, and they could have Julio with a huge target in the middle of the field. I think they can get around it. All right. But these guys got to be healthy. And, Tom's not the only old guy on the team.
So it will be a war of attrition for the Bucs because they're going to have to stay. I mean, it really seems to be it is for everyone, but more so now with the injuries that the Bucs had in the preseason, the changes off season of the line, that the reliability of the Tampa Bay Bucs is going to be the most important factor going forward.
And if they lose to Kansas City, I'm not worried. I mean, I looked at their opening schedule and thought, they could be 2-2. I mean, think about who they open with. Dallas on the road, New Orleans on the road, Green Bay and Kansas City. I mean, 2-2 is not the worst record in the world. And 2-2 will have you no worse than tied for first in your division.
And that division, as we've pointed out, does not look to be all that difficult with Atlanta, Carolina, and the Saints already having 2 losses, losing in Carolina yesterday.
Couple of questions in our Twitch chat room. One specifically at me. What will it take for me to believe in the Dolphins? Well, we believe in the Dolphins. We both thought the Dolphins were a playoff team. We're thrilled that they're 3-0. But I do think that you're being naive if you're not going to acknowledge the fact that they've ham and egged it to the 3-0 start. I mean, they pulled defeat from the, jaws of victory, or they pulled a win from the jaws of defeat in the fourth quarter in Baltimore, and they got outplayed yesterday. They did. Also, something we need to pay attention to, particularly since it's a Thursday game. Tua has suffered a concussion. Now, he came back and played, and there are a lot of people in the NFL that are like, how the hell did that happen? So he came back and played, and they won. But now with a Thursday night road game, could this end up being a Teddy Bridgewater game? The NFL, I think, Mark, is going to put a lot of heat on the Dolphins because that game and that injury got a lot of attention. And the NFL doesn't like that.
Well, I mean, he did, after hitting his head, fall. Took 3 steps and collapsed.
Right.
It certainly looked like a concussion to most of us, David.
Yeah. Yes. And so I'm buying the Dolphins. The question is, am I buying them as a Super Bowl contender? And I'm not there yet. I'm not. I would still take Kansas City. I would still take Buffalo, even though they just beat Buffalo. I would. Now, Yinzer in our Twitch chat room broached a subject that you and I have stayed away from so far for an hour and 46 minutes.
Do we have to bring it up?
Well, I do think we need to be honest with our audience.
Go the other way whenever we pick a game against
Totally. Yes, it's done.
Run.
It's over. It's over. We're going to make our picks still on Fridays, and you
We
just
are?
bet the other way. Sure, because people now can win a lot of money. I mean, Mark, combined, we went 1-11-2 last week.
Repeat that.
Combined, we went 1-11-2.
What in the absolute hell? Got
And
that right.
And I got to admit, I loved my slate. And then the games are coming in on Saturday, and I'm like, wow, that's a loss. Oh, man, that's another loss. I think that's a loss. I mean,
I wasn't focused on your games early because I had 2 games kick off at noon. I had Michigan and I had Clemson. Michigan scores on the very first play of the game after Maryland fumbles the opening kickoff.
Right.
It is 7-0, 4 seconds into the football game.
Correct. A gift 7 points when you're laying 17. That's glorious.
Clemson marches down the field.
Scores.
Twice.
Right. They do it again. 14-0. Yep. Uh-huh.
Arkansas jumps out to a 2-score lead.
And
they're
then,
ready to push it in for a 3rd score.
Right.
Before turning it over.
And the guy returns it 99 yards, a fumble for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And then a field goal hitting the very, 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 very top of the upright. So high up on the upright, most of us have never seen it hit that high before. And it didn't go in. If it had, Miller and Moulton would have had a winner. Instead, that was our mutual tie. Arkansas getting 2, lost by 2. Right.
Should have known that when the show ended on Friday and Buffalo put their entire defense on the injured list, that
Yes.
was a bad sign.
Yes.
We both picked Buffalo. The injury report comes out. One of the first injury report comes out literally right as our show ends. And I went, what in the hell? They've lost a safety in a corner and Oliver's not playing? Oh, this is wonderful. But their defense played really well.
So I'm sitting in Atlanta Friday night, and I'm watching the 4-letter network, and they're telling me that there are six Bills defensive starters that are not going to play in the game. And I'm like, hold on a second. We made our picks like 8 hours ago. Only one of these guys was missing the game. What the heck? Are you serious? The entire secondary and 2 defensive linemen? Golly. So, yeah, we're awful. I mean, we just need to call it. This year, we are hideous, horrendous. Take our picks and go the other way. I'll say it again. 1-11-2 last week. 1-11-2. If you threw darts at a board, you'd do better. If you were in a coma and they just put games in front of you and had you just
drop your arm so
yes,
it picked where your finger hit as the
right,
accurate pick. Yes, right. David, it would do better than we did.
Blink if you want USC. Right. You would have done better. Unbelievable.
Let It Ride's one of my all-time favorite movies. Richard Dreyfuss is a degenerate horse gambler. And he gets on a roll and he wins he's a cab driver and he hears a tip on a horse and he goes and bets the tip and he wins and he ends up winning every bet. But he starts walking around, I think before the third or fourth race, and he walks up to every degenerate in there. Who do you like? And they say the 3-horse, and he crosses them out. That's what you do to Miller and Moulton right now.
Totally. Who did they say they liked? Oh, go the other way.
In fact, idiots. You should be tweeting at us right now, asking us what games we like, just so you can go the other way.
Yes. This is pathetic. That's not harsh enough. Felipe.
No.
Honestly.
No, going over in the showcase or 2 spins being over $1, that's nothing compared to what we are doing right now.
No.
We can't yodel. We can't putt. Right. We can't pick the price of a candy bar right now, David. Right. It is awful.
You know what this is? This is the Price is Right equivalent of you're the last one. And, the picks are lined up. And, common sense is you just add $1 to the highest offer. That's it. And you add like $3,157. That's what we are right now. And of course, the winning bid comes, right in the middle. And you're standing there going, oh, man. And your significant others in the crowd going, you're an idiot.
I haven't decided this week or if I'm going to let Frank or the cats pick for me.
I think I'm going to let my daughter pick. Her husband likes to gamble, okay? And she calls me occasionally and starts throwing these gambling terms at me. And I'm like, listen, don't, okay? You don't know what you're doing. Well, now, clearly, neither does her father. So, might as well give her a shot for a week or two.
I mean, I could go to my son, but I'm looking at the picks he sent me. He didn't do much better. He went 2-3-1. It's better than what I did.
Mark, 2-3-1 is a celebration. 1-11-2. 2-3-1. Throw that man a parade. Golly. So that's where we are. And we're not hiding. We're letting you know. So Friday, first 2-3 hours of the show, we'll right around 7:30, we'll make our picks and just go the other way. Hard
the other way.
Yep.
Miller and Moulton with a lot of information, none of it on how to pick a winner in a game.
No. Idiots.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com, flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Didn't have the. You know, that dream person who's already left that wants us to get more viewers. I just want someone to give me 3 winners. That's all I really care about. I could care less about more Twitch viewers right now. What I would like is 3 winners on the weekend.
Right. Yeah, it's Midtown Manhattan. Empire State Building, Chrysler Building behind me.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for you to come back, David. This thing shifted a little bit. The last one shifted a little bit, so we've got more of the cone on us.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'd be fine because it's going to be gone by the time you get out.
Yeah, the danger is, like, I think they would fly me back tomorrow. I think they'd get me in. The question is, would they get me out on Friday?
I think so because the storm will already be through. The problem is, where are you flying to Friday?
See, Arkansas. That's the problem. It's not like Atlanta or.
Are you flying through Atlanta though?
Well, I was going to, but now if I stay in Jersey, I'll fly through Houston or Dallas.
See, that right there to me is the more important thing because
Yeah.
Friday, where this storm's going, you could
Yes.
be effed in Atlanta.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
where I see I don't see any problem in Southwest Florida. I see an Atlanta problem on Friday with storms, potentially. You know, and I haven't seen really where this thing's zipping through too. Yeah, they've got this. I mean, they've got this thing heading right at Atlanta, if you know what I mean.
30 seconds.
Now, obviously, Lee isn't doing any better. He's 2-2 on his games of the week, Hobbs.
By the way,
Go.
or go.
No, he did go 3-2 this week, though.
First
which,
winning week.
Compared to us is just robust.
We're coming back. I just want to say really quick, Tom Kim is electric. I love that guy.
Okay.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
As we approach a couple minutes past 8 o'clock, the third hour of Miller and Moulton on this predominantly football Monday. What a weekend it was. Just in state. Jags, Dolphins, Knowles, getting it done. Gators, Bucks, Canes. Oh, man. Not getting it done.
And UCF played so well, they got a coach fired. Or at least
Right.
we think so.
Right. It looks like later today, Jeff Collins and the AD at Georgia Tech are going to be fired. The thing that sucks about that, though, is that eventually that'll cost us our buddy, Josh Pastner. You know, you get a new AD in there. They all look to bring in their own guys. We love Josh. So,
And he's been great to us over the years.
Yeah. So I hope that everything can work out there. But Mattingly and the Marlins yesterday agreeing. Yeah, I don't want to come back. Well, good, because we don't want you to come back. How about that? So
finally.
Do you really think Don Mattingly is the reason that you guys are not scoring runs?
Well, Don Mattingly has just made so many stupid decisions in the past.
I mean, the bullpen.
Which hitter did he not acquire?
No, with our
which
pitchers.
hitter did he? Which two hitters did he trade away?
With our pitchers.
Now, this year, the bullpen did not perform the way that the bullpen had performed in the past. There's no doubt about it. The pitching took a little bit of a step back. But, I mean, Felipe, their margin of error is nil. Nil. I could argue them and the Tigers are the two worst offensive teams in the league. And if you don't spend a little bit of money to bring in a bat or two, you're just wasting your damn time. So
they've scored less than Pittsburgh this year, for what it's worth. They're the least scoring team in the National League. Least scoring team in the league.
Well, Pittsburgh has O'Neal Cruz.
Okay.
He probably has more scoring than 80% of Marlins players combined.
Okay. Yeah. The Pirates have a worse record than the Marlins. The Nats have a worse record than the Marlins.
Thank you.
All right. And you scored less runs than those teams that in theory you're better than. All right. Listen, I got no problems. You want to get rid of Mattingly. Okay. And you just want to start this thing over. You know, Kim Ang inherited Mattingly. She wants to hire her own manager. I'm fine with that. But don't blame this on Mattingly. That's a joke. That's an absolute joke.
But we knew this was going to happen. This is just a matter of moving on time.
Totally. By the way, very quickly before we get back to football, did you see what Kevin Kiermaier did yesterday? I think it's the last home game for the Rays this year, or one of them. And he's injured and he's not going to come back and play this year. And they're likely going to move on. So Kiermaier got in uniform and walked up and down the stands yesterday and posed for pictures and signed autographs and
pulled a Joey Votto.
He did. So, you know, mean, he's not a star. He was a nice player who's helped them win. The last year he got hurt and he wasn't worth his salary, but, a classic Rays player. Good defense. You look at his offensive numbers and go, what the heck is that guy doing in the major leagues? And then you take a look at all the games he helps you win during the course of the year, and you go, that's why they're the Rays.
I love that. I hopefully Joey Votto started something, and he did this a couple of weeks ago, or I guess last week, in which he's done for the year as well, and decided he was going to go watch the game from the stands. Did it in a couple spots. It took till his third spot, the right field bleachers, in which the Twitterverse had caught up with Votto, of people going, wow, that looks like Joey Votto, to holy, that's Joey Votto, and did it all the way around a Reds game and met with a bunch of fans, did the same thing. So Kiermaier doing it. If there were a trend in baseball that could continue, this is the one that I'm rooting for, David. This is fantastic next level stuff that these guys need to do. We've talked about baseball players showing their personality. They don't market their personality, but it doesn't matter. It's all about your home market. It doesn't matter that we don't necessarily know who these stars are around the league, but we need to know who they are in our own markets. And these type of things go a long way to personalize players to fans. Great stuff.
The Rays right now are the 5 seed. I will say they have a very good home record, not a good road record. They're 2 games behind the Jays. And so if they have to play 3 on the road in a first round series, 4-5 or 3-6, it doesn't bode well for them based on their road record so far this year. And I think they just finished up their season series with the Jays this past week. They won the first 2, but lost the last 2. So there you have it. Just a little baseball, get you caught up. But football obviously is where we're centered. And the Dolphins if last week, Mark, was the most exciting regular season win that they've had in seemingly 20 years, you could argue yesterday's regular season win was the biggest that they've had since they went to the Jets on the final game of the 2008 regular season, and they needed to win the division and make the playoffs, and they did. I mean, you could argue that yesterday's win was the biggest regular season win for the Dolphins in 14 years.
And not just 3-0 for the Dolphins, but they're winning conference games. They're winning division games. These are games that when we get to the end of the season will matter. They've beaten Baltimore. If Baltimore doesn't win the division, this is a tiebreaker for a wild card. So not just winning games, but who they're beating, I think is something that you have to at least acknowledge, that they're now 2-0 in the division, 3-0 in the conference. These are big wins come December when you start eyeing the schedule and where they are, because as David and I have said, I don't know. I don't think they're the best team in their own division. They weren't the best team on the field yesterday.
No, but they won.
But they won.
And that's all that counts. And that's all that counts. We struggle with poll questions sometimes. It's not our strength. And I know that our
nuts at picking games.
But we've got a solid poll question today. It's about Napier and going for 2 when he was down 17 and they scored. And he said that that's what the analytics say you do. And so we're asking you, do you agree with Napier and the quote unquote analytics, or do you think he's an idiot? But Mark, I'm just going to throw this out there for either later on this week or maybe even a couple of weeks down the road. Who's had a better season in a contract year? Aaron Judge or Lamar Jackson?
Well, we're only 3 games in.
I know, but he's got 73 touchdowns.
Right. One's on the verge of winning a Triple Crown. So It's Judge, but Lamar is definitely saying, are you sure? Because I'm just getting warmed up.
I mean, damn. And I know the whole, both of them are like, well, once the season started, we're not going to negotiate. This really shouldn't take long. It should take what, an hour and a half lunch? All right, Lamar, how about we just do lunch? Okay. No. Just want to do lunch. All right. And then we bring up a topic and he goes, I don't want this topic brought up. And you go, Lamar, just hear us out. Remember when we offered you X and you deemed it to be totally inadequate? Yeah, we're going to offer you Y. What do you say?
What's the offer, though? What's Y?
Well, whatever it is, okay.
Why the hell can't you sign him?
Right. Thank you. Why is this still an issue? Yeah, we can have a lot of fun with this. I mean, Yankee fan too. I mean, they're going to win the division. They're going to have like 4 or 5 days off in between the end of the regular season and the beginning of the playoffs. I mean, you sure you can't take lunch and just do this deal with Judge? Hey, I know we offered you 30 and a half. Here's what we're thinking. How about 40 and a half? And we offered you 7 years. How about 8? 8 for 324. What do you say? Huh? I mean, that's got to be close. I mean, I don't know that you need 20 more minutes to get this deal done if you turn 7 and 30.5 into 8 and 40.5.
Which deal's easier to get done, Judge's or Jackson's?
Judge's.
I agree.
Because it's fully guaranteed.
On all sides.
Yeah, because it's a baseball deal, so it's fully guaranteed.
Because someone in our Twitch chat room says he's at least got to get the Deshaun contract.
Well, that's reportedly what he's saying. He's going, hey, I'm better than him. And he got a fully guaranteed contract. So what part of me getting a fully guaranteed contract are you having trouble with?
The fully guaranteed contract that no one else in the league gets. And Baltimore does not want to give that contract.
Okay. Okay. Just curious. Have you guys actually watched me play? Because I don't think you have. I really don't. I don't think you're watching very closely. I know you don't want to give me a fully guaranteed contract. But this just in. There ain't another one of me around, okay? There ain't. Mahomes has a Josh Allen. He's got a Burrow. He's got a Herbert. It's just, there ain't another one of me.
Because what the guy in Philly's doing is cute.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And I'm impressed as hell with what he's doing. Right. But it ain't what I'm doing.
Correct.
For as long and as well.
Right. And just so you know, by the way, this year comes and goes, and we start doing the franchise tag thing. I'm gone. I ain't re-signing here. I don't even care if you give me everything I want. It'll just be the principle of it.
Well, that's the part of this that I don't think either side wants to get to. But if Baltimore plays around with the franchise tag, there's part of me that if I'm Lamar, I wouldn't blame him for sitting. And I never say that, David. I never say that.
So that's a poll question I'm thinking of.
Miller and Moulton, we thank you for listening. Back with more in a moment right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Oh, they're licking their chops around here. This is the perfect storm for the Southwest Florida. Just get the back end of it, enough for some power to go out, and all these insurance companies and FP&L to spend boatloads of money. Radio stations make a boatload of money on hurricanes. A boatload.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Pay a premium so run ads more than once an hour.
Ooh.
FP&L. Oh, yeah. Huge money.
Wow.
You never want anything that's destructive, but a little Cat 1 brings a lot of money into the market.
I'm sure.
A lot of money.
I'm sure Irma was nice.
Well, no, but Irma was destructive, so that was Cat 4. I mean,
Irma hit a Cat 4?
Yeah, we had 130-mile-an-hour winds in Naples, yes.
Damn. I thought it was a Cat 3, but wow. Hell, there's
Ryan, I may give 3 games and then have 47 on my sheet this week. I may bet. I mean, Felipe is going to be cutting and pasting that whole thing.
What?
My picks.
Oh, my goodness.
I might pick every game.
I'm sorry, but how'd you guys miss that bad on so many games?
Lost a 1-point game in the Clemson. Let's see. First off, I would have never bet Buffalo had I known their whole defense was out. When I found out Buffalo's defense, I almost put a tweet out yesterday morning, so there's no way that I would make. I still thought Buffalo would win, but there was no way I would have laid 5.5, knowing that 6 guys on Buffalo's defense were out. I would have never made that bet.
It's fair. Man, the eye rolled right through Naples and Fort Myers.
Came right down 41.
It's crazy.
We got lucky in this sense that if that storm would have been 12 miles west, we might have lost a lot of Florida with the storm surge.
Right.
The
yeah.
fact that it actually came up and hit was actually a good thing because.
Because you were here, obviously. Yeah. Did you guys ever get the eye? Did you get that short period?
I don't think so.
Because that's crazy whenever that happens.
Although I was a little overserved that day. God was my wife.
Yep. The fridge is fully stocked.
Oh, it's all gone here too, Adam, I'm sure. They got to be closing schools for Wednesday now down here, I would think.
University of Tampa's already there's no school.
Well,
today.
yeah, Tampa closed everything because they got to get all the schools ready to be shelters.
Mm-hmm.
But FGCU still in school. I would think once you start putting watches on people, you can't tell them.
It's kind of crazy that Orlovsky and Mark Sanchez were pulled from the depths of infamy in one day because of two separate things.
Alico is? Or Hurts? Trenton.
Hurts.
Alico's not a shelter.
I thought they made Alico Arena a shelter.
Did they?
Yeah.
Hurts has always been the shelter.
I didn't think Alico's roof was sturdy enough to be a shelter.
We're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Talking a lot of football today. Man, what a disappointing performance by the Canes. But who was it in our Twitch chat room, Mark, that said that the Dolphins' performance was like that next day Bloody Mary that wipes the hangover away?
I guess. I mean, if those are your two favorite teams, it was easy for the Dolphins to take the bitter taste of the Canes' loss away. But you'd have to be drunk to forget about it. And you'd have to stay drunk to forget about it because they lost to Middle Tennessee State. They were a 25.5-point favorite.
Correct. Van Dyke benched. Yes. So this will be interesting now. First piece of adversity for Cristobal and the Canes program since he took over. Let's see how he and they handle it. And they have to handle it heading into conference play. So
I was stunned. They spotted him 10. Okay, teams get off to a bad start. But Middle Tennessee State never let up. I mean, they dominated that football game. 500-plus yards in offense?
Yep. That was a butt whooping. No two ways around it. Meanwhile, disappointment, but I think Gator fans took something out of the loss to Tennessee. I might be wrong, and I'm not saying, that they, took a silver lining or what have you, but I think Saturday was enough of truth serum, Mark, that Gator fan now knows where their team is. They're the fourth best team in the East. I mean, that's now apparent. They've lost to Kentucky. They've lost to Tennessee. And they ain't going to beat Georgia. So the preseason prognostications of being the fourth best team in the East, right now, they're the fourth best team in the East. And they need dudes. A lot of them. They have hardly any of them on defense. They could not make a play. As that game kept going on, Gator fan, at any point in time were you thinking, oh, okay, well, we need to step up and make a play here? Or were you thinking, we can't make a play. We just have to hope they screw up.
And you screwed up down 24-21. Richardson fumbles the ball when you're trading scores with them and you're driving. And that was the mistake that inevitably started the downfall for the Gators.
I mean, when you score touchdowns on 3 out of 4 drives and you're losing ground because they score touchdowns on 4 of 4 drives, that's a problem. That's a problem. And the offense isn't going anywhere. You know, it's going to run the same offense down the road. Just going to have different people running it. That's his offense. So what was apparent to me, Mark, is they couldn't get pressure unless they blitzed the linebackers. And their DBs are nothing. Honestly, they couldn't cover anybody.
Which makes it really difficult to blitz because if one guy's open, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So
pick your poison.
You know, DBU is not DBU anymore. And so when you're taking a look at all these guys that Napier's signing in this recruiting class, which most people believe is the top 10 recruiting class, man, I hope it's a bunch of defensive players because they don't have any impact players on defense. Vontrell Miller, who's not 100%, and maybe a little bit of Cox, maybe. And that's about it.
But Tennessee able to throw where they wanted to. And, you know, I said this earlier. I do think, let me ask you this, and you didn't answer this. Do you think Tennessee has an elite offense?
An elite offense? I think they have an elite offensive scheme. I don't know if I would call it an elite offense. We're going to find out in 3 weeks, Mark. Alabama's coming to town. Alabama brings a little more to the table than Florida.
Yes, they do. Just a touch.
And Alabama brings arguably the best pass rusher in the sport. So, you know, Hooker could hold on to it and hold on to it and hold on to it playing the Gators. Not going to be able to hold on to it against Alabama. So I'll be curious. I love his scheme. You know, the receiver's so wide, it causes big problems. And believe me, Alabama's going to struggle with their receivers too. I mean, they are. I mean, you saw it against Texas. I mean, the biggest mismatch on the field was the Texas wide receiver against the Alabama secondary.
Now, I don't know if anybody on Tennessee's got the kind of speed that kid Worthy from Texas has, but they do have team speed out there.
So I just marvel at what's happened in a year. I mean, it was a year ago that Dan Mullen whooped up on Tennessee. And Josh Heupel afterwards said, yeah, we got nothing for them right now. We're playing catch up. We're a year or two behind. And basically 6 weeks later, Dan Mullen was done. And a year later, Tennessee goes from a 16-point dog to a 10.5-point favorite. Damn. Now, the good news is, in theory, Florida can turn the tables just as quickly as Tennessee has. But, and they do have a quarterback. I mean, he accounted for over 500 yards of offense on Saturday. I mean, if he's not playing for Florida, they lose by 40. He was tremendous.
He was really good. And they were going score for score with him. But that defense has got to get better. Would like to see, you know, I think the receivers can continue to get better. I love the way that Florida can run the football. They're a really good running football team.
Yep.
But in order to be a really good running football team, you've got to be able to play with the lead and you've got to be able to stop somebody. And right now, that's not seemingly what the Gators are able to do.
And, you know, little things, Mark, like they're down a couple scores and they've got a 3rd and 9 deep in their own end. And Napier throws in a different formation than he's used much of the day. And they run the ball off tackle for 14 yards and a first down on 3rd and 9 deep in their own end. All right. That's a great play caller. That's a confident play caller. I mean, down 2 scores, running the ball deep in your own end, 3rd and 9. That's like, damn, that's Steve Spurrier, Bobby Bowden type play call in there. That's good stuff.
Well, he does not lack confidence.
No, he doesn't.
And that's a great attribute to have for a head coach. It is the crux of our poll question, however, that Napier goes for 2 With 4:49 remaining, do you agree with the decision to go for 2 right now? Yes, trust the analytics, getting 46%. No, getting 54%. You can go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, or floridasportsnetwork.com to answer today's poll question.
How much do you think people are voting because they trust the analytics, or they're Gator fans trusting their coach?
I think the B part of it. In fact, some of them said, I don't agree with the call, but I trust the coach, was one of the answers that we got on Twitter. So, hey, they're all in, as well they should be. Now you got to start picking up the W's. Miller and Moulton. Text the show at 21,000 with your thoughts. We'll be back with more on the other side, the good, the bad, and the ugly, still an hour away right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
They can the Pro Bowl?
That's what he just said.
No way.
This thing's tracking a little more towards the coast now. Yeah, there is no reason for you to come home. None, David.
Sounds good.
The latest report has this thing tracking right along the coast. We shall see, but that's no bueno. Because that's a lot of water, too, if that's the case. Okay. I'm told the NFL is replacing the Pro Bowl with Pro Bowl games, a week of skills competitions,
Yep.
accumulating with a flag football game.
In Vegas.
Omaha Productions will be involved. Peyton will also coach in the flag game. This is pretty good. I told my son, "You'll marry the girl I choose." He said, "No." I told him she's Bill Gates' daughter. He said, "Okay." I called Bill Gates and said, "I want your daughter to marry my son." Bill Gates said, "No." I told Bill Gates, "My son is the CEO of World Bank." Bill Gates said, "Okay." Called the president of World Bank and asked him to make my son the CEO. He said, "No." I told him, "My son's Bill Gates' son-in-law." He said, "Okay." This is how politics works. That's funny. That made me laugh, Trenton. Made me laugh. I'd not seen it before. Made me smile. Yeah, the NBC2 guy just put something out. I don't know if there was the latest one at 8:30. So I mean, we have the 4-letter network on, so I'm not watching it.
We're
But
coming back. Do you want me to put on? Okay.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Is this breaking news, a developing story? What is this?
a little of both, I guess. Your Pro Bowl news there?
Yeah. Well, first off, late yesterday, the word came out that Rihanna is going to be the Super Bowl halftime. Okay. After on Friday, the word was it was going to be Taylor Swift. But the NFL, I believe, confirmed yesterday it's going to be Rihanna. I'm in.
Okay.
But so apparently the Pro Bowl's done. Put a fork in it.
As we know it, it is over. It is going to be the end of tackle football in the Pro Bowl. The main game will be a flag football competition, and it will be a festival week entitled the Pro Bowl Games. And you'll never guess, but Omaha Productions is going to be a big part of this.
Wow. And Peyton's going to coach one of the two teams, right?
That's what I am seeing.
Okay.
But the Pro Bowl Games, a lot of skills competitions and things of that nature, be a week of fun, David.
In Vegas. I
Correct.
believe. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
they're saying that the Pro Bowl Games is a key front for the NFL's push of, getting flag football numbers up, trying to get kids to play flag football, thinking that will be a way to get more kids into the game.
Okay. Here's my couple of questions I have. What's interesting about this is this game does 7 to 8 million viewers. I mean, most of us think it's a joke, but there are not a lot of other sporting events that do 7 to 8 million viewers, especially not run-of-the-mill sporting events. I mean, there are very few NBA games that'll do 8 million. I mean, usually we're talking deep in a conference finals or an NBA finals.
It did 6.7 last year, but to David's point, it did between 7.4 and 8.8 million from 2015 to 2020.
And so to give that up as a television product, I mean, I think the 4-letter network televises it, don't they?
Yes.
I mean, they don't have a lot of events that 7 million people watch. They got Monday Night Football. They got the college football semifinals and championship game. But, I mean, I don't know. They may get one college football game a year that does what the Pro Bowl does. Like if they, which they didn't have, Fox had it, but like Texas, Alabama did 10 million. And that could end up being the number one game until Ohio State, Michigan, and the SEC title game. So, that's what I find interesting about this. I mean, the NFL had to drive this home and say, sorry, guys, we're done. Because ESPN's like, what the hell are you talking about? We're done.
We'd have played this forever for that many people.
We got 7 million people watching. I can sell this all day, every year.
When flag football gets 5 million people for the Pro Bowl, and I have no idea what they're going to get, but the audience is going to be ridiculously huge for the product that's being displayed. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're another sport, if you're hockey and the flag football Pro Bowl does 4.5 million, there's party that just says, did we just shut the doors now? Can we get our guys to play flag football?
Right. The other thing that I'm curious about, the reason why I didn't think that this would ever happen is about 25 years ago. But do you remember they used to have a skills competition? The Pro Bowl was in Hawaii, and they would have fun on the beach.
Yep.
And Patriots running back Robert Edwards severely dislocated his knee, taking an awkward step on the sand. And basically, all of this skills competition stuff went away. I mean, Mark, do you remember they used to have a quarterback competition? They'd have the top 8, 10, or 12 quarterbacks, and they would have an accuracy competition and a big bullseye that would be 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards out there, and I mean, that stuff went away, and it largely went away, not because people didn't watch, but because guys were like, oh, I'm not going to, crank it up. And because who was it like 7, 8 years ago who cranked it up to throw it 50 yards and hurt his shoulder? All right. And was like, I'm not doing this. So that to me is interesting about this, because this is, I mean, at least the Pro Bowl, I mean, at least we had helmets and shoulder pads, and we were passing it off as a game. This is not. And these guys are going to be partying all week in Vegas. I mean, it's not like they're going to take this seriously.
Of course not. I'm trying to figure out, what are they going to do for a skills competition that would actually, I mean, is this the combine for professionals? What are we going to do? Have a cone shuttle for the D-line? I mean, I'm serious.
Okay.
Outside of throwing the ball, what skills competition can they give us?
Sprinting. Who's the fastest guy in the NFL?
Yep.
Tyreek Hill and a few others would want to win that title.
Yep, I'm with you.
All right. And then, throwing the ball in some way, shape, or form, I guess kicking it. I guess. I mean, but
who can punt it off someone's ass the farthest? I mean, we've got a butt punt now.
Well, that's true. That's true. And we can invite Orlovsky and Jimmy G and have somebody run out the back of the end zone.
Exactly.
Mark Sanchez refereeing the event.
Yeah, totally. He's got a sense of humor about it. He would gladly do it. But I am curious about this.
I mean, a one-hand catching competition for the receivers. You only can use one hand to catch the ball. I mean, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here, but I'm trying to figure out a skills competition. The sprinting thing would interest me. I would watch to see who the NFL's fastest man is.
Okay. What I'm wondering is there any way to do with football like we can do with basketball with a game of horse? Like, is there any sort of punting, kicking, throwing where, it's not the normal.
Now, if you want to do a pass, punt, and kick competition and let the linemen in on it, let me see some of these. I mean, they could have some fun here and show some guys that actually have some skills. We had the D back there for Kansas City, knocked the extra point in.
Miller and Moulton fan in our Twitch chat room, okay, wants an end zone celebration contest. Okay. All right.
What about like a long snapper? Who can long snap it the furthest?
I'm curious what they can do here that will have legs of more than 1 year.
And they're saying it's a week of these.
Right.
This isn't just a day. This is a week of competition. Good luck.
The other thing is, how many contracts are tied to Pro Bowl incentives? And so how problematic is this going to be? Are we going to award Pro Bowl bids the way we have and then cut it down because we're doing the Peyton Manning horse games? But I never thought that they were going to get rid of the Pro Bowl unless there was like 4 million people watching. That, 6.6 million? Oh, sign me up. Now, I didn't think Joe and Troy were going to do the Pro Bowl. Okay, but I certainly thought the 4-letter network was doing the Pro Bowl. I mean, they don't have 8 things, 10 things all year that attract more viewers.
No.
I mean, if you take Monday Night Football out of the equation, all right, you got the 2 college football semifinals, the college football championship game. You got 18 or 19 Monday Night Football games. And then you got,
what do the conference finals do? The basketball conference finals do for them?
It depends who's in them.
But it's not doing 7 million.
Depends. If it's Steph or LeBron, it has a shot. But probably not. No, they probably need one of them in the finals to do 7 million.
The NFL should make the dodgeball games a primetime event. Because those are awesome.
Yeah. Good luck with that, Felipe. I mean, you can keep spewing just dumb ideas into the microphone thinking one catches on, but
the receivers.
You're trying to get people to watch television. And if you were in a programming room saying that, I think you would get laughed out of it. I may be wrong.
I will say, Felipe, I am one of those that's in favor of there's no such thing as a stupid idea, so just say it. So I would say, okay, all right, thanks for that.
It would be the greatest dodgeball match ever.
Yeah, I don't know, whether or not people want to see that. I don't know. Do people want to see flag football?
Well, they've been watching it for the past few years because that's all this game has been, is a glorified flag football game.
I understand.
They don't even really tackle.
I understand, but they didn't have flags on the players, though. I mean, now they are literally going to have no helmets, no shoulder pads, and flags attached to your hips. So,
So maybe it's the end, but I'm telling you, and we're telling you, that if it is the end, ultimately, of this game after this year and this doesn't work, ESPN is not happy.
No.
Because that's a big number that they were getting for their advertisers. A big number.
It's a lot of pressure on Peyton, too. I mean, Omaha Productions is going to be televising this throughout the week, and then Peyton's going to be one of the 2 coaches. A lot of pressure on Peyton to make this entertaining. This is the week in between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl.
So that to me, hey, they haven't made too many mistakes, David. We were anti the draft on Thursday. That obviously worked. Right. They're adding a playoff team. I think we all believe that will work. They added a 17th game. That is working, whether we like it or not. They added Thursday night football. That is working. This league does not do much that doesn't work. Now, nobody seemed to like the 2 games on Monday night. I mean, nobody.
Right, except ESPN.
Their audience was bigger.
Yes.
Pretty good chance we're going to get that 3 times next year.
Yes. Yes. I don't like it. I don't. But I mean, you're not going to believe this. They don't ask me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I throw in my 2 cents, but they don't ask me.
But the fact of the matter is they don't need to ask anyone because the combined number of the 2 Monday night games was bigger than the number of the 1 Monday night game from the week before. It's
Right.
simple. I can guarantee my advertisers X. I get more for X.
Mark, do you think people would be interested in NFL players playing golf?
Not really.
Okay. Because I will say, you put a couple pops in them, they'll let their guard down. It'll be pretty entertaining. I don't know that the golf will be good, but it'll be pretty entertaining.
What about a mascot football game?
What world are you?
Like the NCAA games?
Wow. No, I think this is a bad idea that will end up being the end of the Pro Bowl or bring the Pro Bowl back in its original form, because I don't know if the players will ever want it to go away if bonuses aren't when the fact that bonuses are involved. They want this game. They don't want to play in it. They want the money for earning their spot in it.
Correct.
So that's the part where if this doesn't work, what's next? Do they go back to what they were doing? Because obviously this is not happening if the players weren't vehemently against this game happening.
Well, and also because basically the entire first string that gets elected to the Pro Bowl doesn't play. Some of them just got done playing in the conference championship game. Some of them are playing in the Super Bowl. And then you've got those that are like, no, I'm good. So you really have second and third string Pro Bowlers that are the ones playing in this game.
But now it's a flag football game. We'll see how that goes. Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte, Venice. We thank you for listening. We'll do this all over again. The bonus hour is on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. The problem, KW, is this reminds me too much of Charlie. That's my only worry. And if that thing skirts the coast, we could get a lot of water, which is the last thing we need. But I got my first text from a friend of mine this is his first storm. He's already freaking out. Exactly, Adam. That's the whole problem. That's why we need that thing out in the Gulf.
Saw that button on his board.
I guess Johnny Moore, because they got this thing dead to rights to Tampa, and that's where they had Charlie dead to rights too. It wasn't hitting us. Nope. That's all.
Yep, it was going parallel to us all the way to Tampa. They were getting crushed.
That's all. It just that's where my I think you'll see Lee County schools closed probably Wednesday now.
10 seconds.
Probably Wednesday, Thursday.
Probably. Maybe just Wednesday. We'll see.
You are listening listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this predominantly football Monday. Although we did talk a little Judge and a little Pujols. And in fact, Pujols was our clutch vodka play of the day, hitting 699 and 700 Friday night. By the way, that was on Apple TV. And the Earth continued to rotate on its axis. Right. And nothing calamitous happened with Western civilization as we know it Friday night into Saturday morning with Pujols' historic event happening on Apple TV. I just thought I'd make that point.
Okay. Happened late enough that most of us weren't that worried about what channel it was on, if you want to know the truth.
No.
It was a 10 o'clock start out, 10 o'clock start at Dodger Stadium. So,
yep, no doubt about it. Third and fourth inning. So it happened, between 11 and 11:30. There's no doubt. But I'm just saying that, all the fretting that was taking place about Judge and Pujols being on Apple TV, and Michael Kay deserves credit. Remember last week we said the Yankees really wanted Michael Kay on the Apple TV broadcast. Michael Kay looked his bosses in the eye and said, "This is rude. This is obnoxious. These are these guys' games. Okay, I'm not doing the game." Good for him.
I thought it was fascinating on Saturday. Every time Judge came to the plate on both ABC and ESPN, they interrupted coverage and went to a split screen shot. And I just wondered in parts of the world parts of the country, how that was playing out. If you know what I mean. Because the college football guy is not the baseball guy at all.
Well, I was in the Tennessee press box when this was going down, and the game that was on was Auburn, Missouri. So that was the game that they would then go half and half and show the Judge at bat. Nobody complained. In fact, Mark, there were numerous people that were like, "Oh, Judge," and they went flocking to the TV.
Cool. Good. I'm happy to hear that. Because I'm just sitting at home and, two of my TVs are switching, and I'm happy because I want to watch it. I'm ecstatic about it. But it was a college football Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an SEC game, which is about non-New York Yankee baseball as life can get.
Yes. Although I have to admit, did you see how, not that anybody cares about this game, but did you see how Missouri lost? Oh, my goodness. They missed a 26-yard field goal at the end of regulation to win it. 26. This is Division I college football. All right. This is not freshman high school ball here. In fact, I'm sorry for speaking badly about you freshman kickers out there because you all would have made that kick. My apologies. 26-yard field goal, number one. And then Auburn scores a field goal. Missouri's got the ball. They score a touchdown. They win. And the guy's going in the end zone. He cuts through two guys. He takes it to the outside. He's going down the sideline. He's going to score. And he reaches the ball out and loses it. No reason to reach the ball out either. Just tuck it and take two more steps. No one's tackling you. You're going to score. Unbelievable. They would have fired. You know how they're firing the Georgia Tech coach and AD today?
Right.
They would have fired Brian Harsin Saturday.
He was done.
Done. They would not have let him coach the LSU game this coming Saturday. Now he'll get at least one more game.
That was as crazy of a finish as we had over the weekend, and that was some nuts of how that thing ended. Just tragic.
Oh,
Missouri.
Awful. And, Auburn's a mess. He's going to get fired. I mean, it doesn't matter what Auburn's doing. For Missouri, this is a big deal. A road SEC win, they don't get a lot of those. Never mind get a road win against the SEC West. They don't get a lot of those. Would have kind of sort of been a big deal. This is an interesting time right now, Mark. This is where everybody's a meteorologist.
Yes, well, from all across the country too, David.
Yes.
Not just the experts in Southwest Florida that have lived here long enough that know as much as what's going on television. And I'm not even trying to make light of those folks because we've all paid attention. We all have a minor in meteorology after you've lived here for 10 plus years, or at least you think you do.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been here 20 years and you go back to Charlie and you were here 5 years ago for Irma and whatnot, yeah, you think you understand, things. I mean, we can't forecast it, but we think we understand it. When they're explaining it, we sit there and we go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Don't ask us to go up there and do the forecasting, but if you want to do the forecasting, we understand it. We've been here long enough.
And there are 3 levels of minors in meteorology. David explained one. That's the person who's been here for a while.
Right.
Then there's the panicky meteorologist. That's the person who's been in Florida for less than 5 years and has not experienced a storm yet.
Correct.
In fact, David, my phone in the last half hour has one of those text me, and nice texts, but they forget that I work from 6 to 10, and they're well aware of my hours with, hey, I'm not sure what to expect from this thing. What am I supposed to do? And that's fine. And I said, I'll call you at 10. You're fine. It'll be okay.
Right.
Then it's the out-of-town meteorologist.
Correct.
Who thinks because the storm is coming to Florida that it is coming right at anyone who lives in Florida, no matter where you are. Pensacola coming at you. Jacksonville coming at you. Southwest Florida coming at you. It doesn't matter. We've already started to get those texts from the out-of-towners as well, David.
Especially since many of them used to live in Florida. Okay. And now, all right, have relocated, but they're channeling their Florida weather expertise again. So,
Funny,
yeah,
I did groceries in Miami on Saturday, and my mom was like, "Yeah, no one cares here. Everyone's fine. There's no chaos here."
well, and there shouldn't be though, because
You've
the
never been in a
storms,
cone.
Right.
in fact, if people have to travel, I would recommend you go across the alley and fly out of Fort Lauderdale. The other thing, for what it's worth, I would recommend you do is fly to Texas. Don't go through Atlanta because this thing might just be a big soaker in the southeast. All right. Fly from Fort Lauderdale or Miami to Texas and then go wherever you need to go that way for whatever that's worth. So, but I'm enjoying this. Okay.
From
I
afar?
am. Oh, yeah. Because my phone is blowing up. And oh, yeah. And we got the people who used to live here who have relocated. And they're on heightened alert as if somehow, some way they're going to have property damage. And they're not because they sold everything and they left. We got those that are still here who are calm, cool, and collected because they've been through a few of these. And, the odds are we'll be okay because we've only been directly hit by like 3 of them in 20 years.
I got to give my mom a lot of credit because now she's a veteran. She's been here through Irma. She was actually on Marco Island through Irma at a friend's house, kind of watched the whole thing come up on a 3rd floor condo and just, took the storm in, if you will. So when you do that once, you've earned your stripes. She was in Vegas over the weekend. My cousin got married in Las Vegas over the weekend, and my mom is her godmother and flew out for the wedding. And she was flying back on yesterday, and it was Saturday. She just shot me a quick text. Hey, this thing coming? ? That's how you do it. From a couple thousand miles away, just a simple text. This thing coming? ?
Now, I am not always a good person. I try really hard to be, but there is a sarcastic side to me that just wins out. And there are times in which it shouldn't. Like now, because this could be serious.
Yes.
It could be a category 2, category 3, and God forbid, worse storm. But when people text me days in advance And they go, what's the forecast? And I usually text back Armageddon. It's over. Smoke them if you got them. All right. And most of them get the hint that means leave me alone. Okay? Leave me alone. Watch the Weather Channel. Trust me. Round the clock. Okay? They're going to do it. See where certain people show up. That's where they think the storm's going to come. It's really simple. For Irma, when Jim Cantori was in the hotel right next to I-75 and he had the rope around the column and around his waist, okay, well, there's a pretty good chance it was coming to Southwest Florida.
I think the Cantori cam is where you really have to go at this point, and they're going to send him to Tampa.
Okay.
That looks to be, at this moment in time, where this storm is heading. But we don't know. Things can change. We want everybody to be safe.
Yep.
We always comment here from a standpoint of guys that do a sports show on who gets a hold of us. Because collectively, we've been down here for over 40 years. We've been through a couple of these.
Yep.
And we do take them seriously. I mean,
absolutely we do.
You're going to spend the week in Jersey.
I am. Yep. I have to get to Northwest Arkansas for Alabama, Arkansas on Saturday. And I think if I fly home tomorrow afternoon, I think my flight will get in, but I have no idea when my next flight will get out.
I am just ecstatic for the beach shot and the people in the background, like parasailing or surfing and stuff like that. I love those every year.
The only ones that I really enjoy is when the anchor tries to get the wide stance, like the wind's really blowing, and people will always walk right past him.
Mike Seidel of the Weather Channel, he got crushed.
Well, of course he did.
He did the really wide stance in the puddle, and he talked about how brutal this was, and two people in shorts, a t-shirt, and flip-flops walked right behind him. Right.
See, because most of the population is concerned, but then there's the other side of the population that is not concerned.
Well, what's awful is that there's a certain part that just says, am I going to get a day off? That's where it boils down to. How much work do I have to do, and are you going to give me a day? Miller and Moulton, we take no days off right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And I ran so far.
Felipe? Why do you continue to sing? Into a microphone.
Old music was so great back then.
That's a terrible song.
And I ran.
That's a terrible song. It's the Flock of Seagulls. It's a terrible song. It was a bad song then. It's a bad song now. The only reason that song was even on the radio, and I don't even know if it was on the radio that much, it was on because MTV didn't have videos back then. The only videos were from bad English bands. And most of the early MTV was a lot of English music that wasn't that good.
But see, I could see that song being like a radio banger. Probably played that song on the radio so many times.
Not really. It was an MTV song.
Man, what was radio like back then?
The same as it is now.
The same? Really?
Yeah, it was on radio stations.
But like less of a filter, you know? I don't know. We've gotten soft.
I'm with you, Johnny. This will be my first storm with a hurricane-proof home. I'm actually pretty fired. Watch things fly by.
Yeah. No more shutters. No more darkness. Now, do you leave your cars in your driveway?
One will go in the garage.
Okay.
And the other one will probably go right up against the garage.
Because I'm debating whether I should put my car in like an FGCU garage.
Why?
That's the thing. Like, I mean, it's either that or just leave it in a parking lot with a bunch of other cars, you know?
How long ago, Mello? If you said he still had the flock haircut. I don't think by the way, I don't think you can get rid of that, Mello. I think once you go to that flock cut, if you're going to play a gig, you got to bring it back. That's in their heyday almost, right? I mean, no, Seagulls is probably an 80s band. So yeah. Odds are I'll lose another mailbox. I have a mailbox thing going right now where they just keep getting broken, either by me backing the car into it or a tree.
Tyler Van Dyke threw a pick on his first throw of the game. And then on his fifth throw, he threw a pick six.
Yes.
It was rough. It was bad. There were a lot of angry people there.
Well, there were angry people there. I wouldn't say there were a lot of angry people there. That would mean there was a good crowd.
Shut up. Yes.
Just saying.
I was just laughing the whole time.
I was still waiting for him to come back down 10-0. I'm like, all right,
they almost did.
And yeah.
Just couldn't convert a freaking first down. I'm sure you saw it. They benched Van Dyke. They put in Garcia, the backup.
Oh my goodness. Due to the storm, Thursday night social and trivia night's been canceled in my neighborhood. You've got to be kidding me. How are we ever going to survive?
The horror. Who is the Patriots' backup quarterback?
The guy that the one McCown, right? And then also the guy they drafted in the 7th round.
Oh, okay. We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. 2-3-0 teams, the Eagles and the Dolphins. The Giants trying to join them. Remember, Carolina was 3-0 last year, lost 12 of their next 14.
What are you trying to say as someone who follows the New York Football Giants, David? Are
Mark,
you saying the Carolina Panthers or the Giants going to be this year's Carolina Panthers?
Mark, I'm saying they're not very good.
And that is a fact.
You know, that sometimes the one-loss record is a bit of a mirage. Like the Bears are 2-1. The Bears are not very good. All right. But, you know, they played the Niners in a monsoon, and they got Trey Lance, who clearly wasn't up to it. And they just got the Houston Texans. And most people are able to find a way to beat the Houston Texans. I will say the Davis Mills thing is not working.
No, it is not.
No,
for the strides that he took last year, and people thought that perhaps the Texans they had found this quarterback. They had found their diamond in the rough. Well, that was not the case.
Not yet. Not yet. First 3 games this year, it's not working. So we'll see. It's early. I mean, they'll give him the year. Might as well. But right now, they need to get a quarterback. By the way, think about what great shape the Eagles are in. They have 2 first-round picks next year. Remember, they covered their you-know-what in case this Jalen Hurts guy couldn't play. And this just in, he looks like he can play. I mean, 340 and 3 touchdowns yesterday.
You know, when you get a quarterback in A.J. Brown, it helps because the guy in Tennessee, and I know they won yesterday, you know what he could use? An A.J. Brown.
He really could. He really
got
could.
A great game out of Woods yesterday.
Yep.
But I don't think he's going to get that every week.
I mean, Mark, it's an amazing thing that Buffalo had this Josh Allen guy quarterback.
Right.
And he was struggling. He couldn't even complete 70% of his passes. So they went and they got him a Stephon Diggs. And in year 1, he completed 73% of his passes. Unbelievable. A number 1 wide receiver. You know what a number 1 wide receiver is? A guy who can't be covered. Right.
You need a safety.
At least.
And when you need a safety, it opens up running lanes. It opens up other receivers.
Yeah.
In fact, it opens up sometimes the whole middle of the field.
So Devontae Smith, who saw double coverage his entire Heisman Trophy year at Alabama, he's now playing alongside A.J. Brown. He's not seeing any double coverage. This Dallas Goedert tight end, he's top 6 in the league. He's a good solid. That offensive line's probably top 3 in the league. I mean, you add it all together. And, you know, if this Jalen Hurts guy can keep it going, not only that, he's a 2nd-round pick. He's still got 1. He's making $1 million this year. $1 million he's making. And he's making like 1.2 next year.
For the record, the Eagles host the Jags next week.
Ooh, the Doug Peterson.
Battle of first place teams, David.
Think about it. They had the Carson Wentz game this week. Now they have the Doug Peterson game next week. Be interesting.
I'm sorry.
Yes. No, Felipe, what?
I saw a tweet that said that the United States cannot handle the infrastructure of a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl. It can't. It's not possible. The world will fall.
That'd be funny. It'd be out in Arizona, though, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that just, you know, it'd be like going to a different country. It would. I mean, Arizona would just say to Bills and Eagles fans, listen, the state's yours for a week. Could you just keep it to a dull roar, please? You know.
But 3-0 Eagles looking very good in how they're getting it done right now. Unlike Miller and Moulton, who are picking games at the opposite rate of what the Eagles are doing.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'd take a Houston Texans week right now, 0-2-1. I would take that. I really would.
That would require us to only pick 3 games, though, David, and we do not have that in us. Someone asked in the Twitch chat room, would we be doing 3-team teasers and parlays to try to catch up right now? Anything's possible.
No, anything bet
is possible.
No, I'm making one bet. I'm just betting $1 billion. That's what I'm doing, and I only need to hit it once, and I'll be caught up. That's what I'm doing. Man. By the way, can we just tangent for a second? As great as the Dolphins story is, what the hell is going on with the Raiders? They won 5 of the last 6 last year. They made the playoffs. They were throwing the ball in the end zone against the Bengals to tie or win that game. I mean, what in the world is going on? They got a pass rusher. They got arguably the best wide receiver in the game. What the heck?
Looked like the Titans found a little bit of Derrick Henry, but that's still no excuse for what the offense is for the Raiders right now. Josh McDaniels is supposed to be an offensive genius, and there wasn't a whole lot there yesterday for the Raiders, David.
No, it looks like Matt Patricia's calling the plays in Las Vegas.
You know, every single team lost in the – oh, actually, no, the Broncos won. Every team besides the Broncos lost in the AFC West yesterday. Is the AFC West looking a little overrated so far?
No, absolutely not. First off, all right, how many times have they already played each other? That's true. Number one. No. You got 4 quarterbacks in that division, although Carr's off to a horrible start. So, no.
It's early.
Yep. The problem, though.
Interception problem right now.
Yeah. The problem, though, is in that division, it gets late early. I mean, this isn't the AFC South here. 0-3 in the AFC West. Whew. Man. It's unbelievable. Remember, he waited, 10 years for his second opportunity? And while Nell Skier in our Twitch chat room says Denver looks awful, yeah, but they're 2-1. All right. If you can look awful and win games, great. Imagine when you figure it out. I mean, they've scored 16, 16, and 11.
And they're 2-1.
Yeah. And we all know the one. By the way, did you hear that they hired Nathaniel Hackett? Like basically a David Moulton? They hired him
a spotter basically to watch the game clock.
They hired him a spotter to kind of like help him with down and distance situations. Herm Edwards had a spotter hired for him when he was with the Jets. Herm had an awful time 2-minute drills, when to call timeout and what have you. So did a great job preparing the team. Ownership loved them. All right. Not good in the 2-minute drill situation. Had to hire him somebody.
And Hackett's had a rough start, to say the very least, with his coaching tenure. I don't think that anything got counted down for him this week, which is a positive.
Well, how quickly, if you're Denver, remember the Walmart heir just bought this franchise. He didn't hire Nathaniel Hackett. He was putting in his bid when Nathaniel Hackett got hired. I mean, if you're forking over $4.5 billion for a team and Sean Payton's available, and yeah, you'll have to give up draft pick compensation. Who cares? I mean, compared to what you have now, would you give up a first round? Now, this isn't your thing. You don't like to give up compensation for coaches. And they just gave up a first rounder this year, and they're giving up a first rounder next year. Okay, but would you give up a draft pick for Sean Payton? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka, The Seaside will be serving clutch vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Well, Logic Man, I don't think they had to give up A.J. Brown. I would have worked a different way. I totally different situation, player and coach. They should have never given up A.J. Brown. And I said it when it happened. I'm not right about much. That one I was on par with. I mean, you look at what that's doing for the football team you root for, man. Holy cow.
Oh, wow. The NBA is playing a game in Abu Dhabi. Interesting. So if they review this whole Tua return to the game thing, what, are they going to fine the Dolphins? Or
Probably. And if he has a concussion, he's got to get through protocol to play Thursday, which is very difficult to do.
Burrow versus Tua. It'd be such a great matchup. They played against each other in Death Valley. All right, 10 seconds. Here we go. We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until we're out of here. The Pro Bowl is no more. It's a Pro Bowl skills game competition, a week of, I don't know, flag football. Omaha Productions, Peyton Manning. Omaha! I don't know.
Omaha!
So, I'll tell you what, I think they've got to worry about little overexposure. Just throwing that out there. There are a lot. They got game shows. They got the football. They got all the commercials. Now they're going to try to save the Pro Bowl in some way, shape, or form. They
had Chad Powers.
Right.
For a brief moment.
Right.
Think fast, run fast.
So I'm just, throwing that out there. That's all. You got to risk overexposure. That's all. Even when you're really popular. That's all. So, Miller and Moulton, you ready?
I am. Let's get after it.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1789 is where we start today, David. Thomas Jefferson appointed first U.S. Secretary of State. 1867, Tom Morris Sr. wins his fourth Open championship. He remains the oldest champion at 46 years old. Watson could have had it.
And that record never would have been broken either. Not just in the Open, in all majors. 59, no way.
1925, the PGA, Walter Hagen wins, his third overall, 7 of his 11 majors. 1934, the Queen Mary is launched. It was retired in 1967, where it was converted to a hotel in Long Beach. Today in 1949, the groundbreaking sign for Hollywood is actually Hollywoodland. They tear it down finally and make it just Hollywood. The first of the 4 Nixon-Kennedy debates took place today in 1960. Maris hits number 60 today in 1961. Maury Wills becomes the first player to steal 100 bases today in 62 en route to 104. And the Beverly Hillbillies premieres today on CBS that same day. 1964, Gilligan's Island premieres on CBS. 1968, Hawaii Five-0 premieres on CBS.
My wife loves that theme song, literally.
How can you not?
She looks at me and she's like, be quiet. I got to do my dance.
Book 'em, Dano. 1969, the Brady Bunch debuts.
And I believe yesterday was the 1970 the Partridge Family debuted. Ooh. So 69 and 70 there back to back.
Today in 71, Palmer becomes the 4th Oriole to win 20 games in the season. The 4th.
Yeah, they didn't win the World Series, by the way. 4 20-game winners, they got beat.
Today in 1973, Wilt Chamberlain signs with the ABA San Diego Conquistadors.
Conquistadors?
Conquistadors.
There you
Sorry.
go.
I knew I did it wrong when I said it, and I was just waiting for you to correct me. Thank you for that, Felipe. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
1982 Knight Rider debuts on NBC.
Was never into it.
No, me either. No.
Just thought the whole premise was stupid.
I'm right there with you, David. 1986, speaking of stupid, nothing may have been dumber than what happened in 86 rather, because Patrick Duffy as Bobby returns to the TV show Dallas. His death was attributed to his wife's bad dream, erased all of the season prior.
That's right. That's right. All those daytime soap operas took a look at that one and went, damn, why didn't we think of that?
Bad dream.
We have guys like go down and the cars explode and then they come back months later, but man, just pass it off as a bad dream. That's brilliant.
In 93, the U.S. wins the Ryder Cup, beating Europe 15-13. DL3 beating Roca 1-up to secure the victory for the U.S.
It is the last time we won the Ryder Cup on foreign soil. Watson, I believe, the captain.
99 was Brookline on the big Sunday. And you can tell this was written by a non-American, David, the pace that we get some of this information from, because it says, wins first 6 matches to set up victory. Poor American crowd and team behavior, heavily criticized. Not in this country, it wasn't. The Departed premiered today in 2006, and the U.S. whooped up on Team Europe a year ago, winning 19-9. Dustin Johnson was 5-0.
Yes, and now he's a piece of trash. Yep.
I don't know if he's that good.
Okay. I mean, he was the only American to go 5-0 since Larry Nelson in 79, and now he can't suck enough because he's playing on the LIV.
Those born today that are no longer with us: T.S. Eliot, George Gershwin, Bill France Sr., Winnie Mandela, and Olivia Newton-John. Those that are celebrating birthdays: Brian Ferry from Roxy Music is 77. Linda Hamilton from the Terminator movies is 66. The Sendin twins are 42, and Serena's 41, David. And that is Today Was the Day When. What did I miss?
65 years ago today, since I've got Midtown Manhattan in my background, West Side Story opened on Broadway on this day in 57.
Ooh.
And just one from me, no bubble, but 1 year ago today, Justin Tucker hit the longest field goal in NFL history.
Ooh.
A 66-yard game-winning field goal to beat the Lions. Remember, it hit the middle post and then just went lightly, got caught by the net.
Second time the Lions were defeated by a NFL record-setting field goal, because Dempsey's 63-yarder was also against the Lions.
Yep.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
A tremendous good. We go to TikTok for the good, not just for wasting an hour on your phone flipping through videos, but Lily Fleet put up a picture of her son, Ari. Cute little edited video of her dressing her son. Optometrist Laura Brown noticed that Ari had a cloudy appearance in his left eye and said, you need to get your son checked out. The test revealed glaucoma, which required an urgent operation to open a tube in his eye so the fluid could drain out. Because of the doctor's advice, the boy can see. Absolutely amazing. It's like that hockey story of the gal that was sitting behind the trainer for, was it Vancouver? And noticed something on the back of his neck, turned out to be cancer, and may have saved his life. For the bad, we go to the town of Thompson, New York, where Harold Tyler was arrested for stealing a truck, driving on a revoked license. I'm sorry, not stealing a truck. He was driving on a revoked license, and he had switched plates on the truck he was driving. You see, he ran out of gas right in front of the sheriff's department. driving with expired license and had switched the tags on his truck and then went for help. Where else but the sheriff's office? Proving once again, you can't fix stupid. Finally, the ugly. We go to San Carlos Park where Saturday night, police were called after Monique Williamson was a little upset at her lover, and she decided to stab him in his left shoulder. He is going to be fine. She's going to spend a little time in Lee County. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September the 26th, 2022.
Some time in the pokey.
Very little bit. She'll make sure she gets her 3 meals for this storm.
Don't know if the Yankees clinch the East with a win over the Jays tonight. I know they clinch a tie, but I don't know if the Yankees own the tiebreaker over the Jays. There's a part of me that thinks they don't. But obviously the Yankees are going to win the East. They're a week and a half left in the season. They're 8.5 up in the standings, but they're in Toronto. Chance to all but wrap up the East tonight, and with it, the 2 seed. And if you're a Rays fan, you're rooting for the Yankees because you're hoping that Toronto loses a few here and you catch them and you're the 4. So the biggest game of the night, though, Mark, I could argue, is in Washington because it's the Braves and the Nats. And this is the last game that the Braves have to play to catch up to the number of games that the Mets have played. The Mets have 8 games left. The Braves have 9. Only 4 games in action tonight. Braves at Nats tonight. Difference between being 1 back and 1 in the loss column, or 2 back and 2 in the loss column. And we're less than, 10 games left in the season. So key game tonight for the Braves.
Monday Night Football, the game you will be at, the Giants and the Cowboys. I like the Cowboys in this one. I know they're not the favorite in this game, but I think they get it done against the Giants. What are your thoughts, David?
I think Dallas is the better roster. I do think that the Giants will be helped by getting their 2 best pass rushers back. They missed the first 2 games of the year. Mark, the Giants' offensive line is still dreadful. Outside of left tackle, they're really struggling. And I think Daniel Jones is going to be running for his life tonight. If they can protect him a little bit, I think they'll win. But I don't think they'll be able to protect him. And Cooper Rush, by the way, was a Giant for 3 months. And the Giants cut him.
Revenge game for Cooper Rush?
A little bit. So I like the Cowboys tonight.
The Giants are a 1-point favorite. The over-under is 39.
2019
is down.
Right. 2019 is what Vegas is saying we're going to have tonight. I mean, think of the games we had yesterday. Even the Jags, Chargers 48. Chicago, Houston 43. Tennessee, Vegas 46. Minnesota, Detroit was supposed to be one of the highest scoring games of the day, 52. Indy and KC 37. Now, Ravens, Patriots went 63. But Niners, Broncos went 21. Atlanta, Seattle 50. Rams, Arizona 32. Saints, Panthers 36. Bengals, Jets 39. Philly, Washington was 32. Green Bay, Tampa Bay was 26. Bills, Dolphins was 40. I mean, that's a lot of low scoring.
Especially, you look at that Bills game with the offense they put up and didn't score, and the lack of offense the Dolphins had with the Bills' defense that was pretty depleted yesterday.
I mean, 2 games over 50. Lions, Vikings 52, Ravens, Patriots 63.
Fantasy football GMs are streaming right now, David. They don't know what to do. Scoring's down.
And for those of you that drafted Kyle Pitts, I'm sorry.
Oh, there's a bunch of that. There's a bunch of that going on, but Do you think this is a 3-week trend, or do you think there's a little something to scoring being down this year?
I think it's twofold. I think, one, we have more injuries earlier, and two, what you've talked about, line play is really bad. If you can't block them, it's tough to score.
And we're seeing a lot of that across the league right now. That in tonight, I think you'll see more of it. As you mentioned, the New York Giants line, not very good. Well, what about the Cowboys line? And with the Giants getting 2 pass rushers back, I mean, to say that this game's going to be an under would be the smart play. And that's a tough number to be betting an under on, 39.
Zeke or Saquon, who you loading up on tonight?
I would go Saquon just because Pollard gets some passes and he'll be in the lineup more. And I think they're going to try to screen them a little bit more and see if they can make something happen that way.
I would agree. Saquon doesn't really share carries or touches, and Zeke does. So, in fact, I don't think they've given it to Zeke in the red zone. I don't think they've given it to him goal to go yet. Don't think he's had the ball, which makes no sense.
So that's our Monday nighter. Looks as if I'll be flying solo in the studio this week. Everybody just keep paying attention to what's going on. We are flippant with a lot of things in here, and we even are with storms, but we do it with sarcasm more than anything else. Pay attention today. Do what you need to do to keep yourself safe, and pay attention throughout the day, because I think the next one's at 11. We'll have a little bit better look at what's going on.
But the plan right now is for us to do a show every day this week. We'll see. We'll see.
I'm betting we're working 5 days.
Okay.
And the reason I'm betting on it is I haven't won a bet all year. So go the other way.
See what you did there.
You darn right. See? Sure, I'll get this one right because there's no money on it. That's why I'll get this one right. But David, enjoy the view from Hoboken there.
Yep.
And
it is beautiful. Empire State Building, Chrysler Building, Freedom Tower. Doesn't suck.
Soak it all in. We'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early at 6 a.m. And maybe even more Dolphins fight song tomorrow. We'll just Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Right here. Where else? The Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters.